facilitate the learning process, but will not be the control master or the owner of the learning process. And that is changing mostly because there is an information overload. You don't have to wait for somebody who has to come and tell you that this is how it is, this is how the world works, this is how, this is the capital of India is Delhi. You don't need somebody else to come and say. You can just Google it. So with the available amount of information that is available online, so this is becoming more of student-led. But you cannot completely remove the faculty from it, because somebody has to be there to facilitate that. What do you learn at this age? What is the appropriate level you are in? So that definitely needs a human intervention, for which as of now technology is not available, or even if it is available, it doesn't bring the near experience of having an education or the bonding that you have with the knowledge.
One of the things we keep hearing from industry, and we heard some of it on the earlier panels as well, is that despite strong technical degrees, industry still reports a talent readiness gap. Where do you think academia could do better when it comes to real-world AI deployment needs, and what is being done?
So I think going forward, probably not exactly, probably like the students, those who are in say 10th or 11th, currently studying 10th or 11th, by the time when they come to undergraduate education, they will be in how we call a digital native, they'll be an AI native population. So for them, anything, so for us, for an earlier generation, probably they would, if there is any news, they might probably take a Hindu, if they had heard about an incident, they might check on the paper. I might probably Google it. Probably the next generation will not even Google it, would ask ChatGPT for it. So it is going to be an AI native generation. So definitely the way that the skill sets are going to progress is going to be much different. That is one point that I want to make as a demography. But is there a skill set mismatch? Most definitely yes. And that is due to the lack of practical exposure that the students get during their engineering degrees. So this can only be sorted when there is a proper communication between the industry and the academia as to what is the requirement. So once there is a good input on what is the skill set that needs to be matched for the next 5 years, these are the critical skills that the student needs to have. So then it becomes a easier issue. The second thing is the lack of, like you said, how do you deploy it? Because even now when I see, we have an AI ML program and AI is studied by a lot of students. But the problem is that a lot of students only see it on the theoretical upfront. Nobody considers the deployment issue. In all the noise about AI in Davos, one statement that actually rang home to me was Satya Nadella telling the social permission of AI. Do you really think it is all going to go into an implement stage? Is it possible? Do you have the data centers? Do you have the energy requirements? Do you have the IT infrastructure to handle all of this? So that part has to be critically analyzed, and there needs to be a policy at a larger level. It doesn't just involve the academia, but how do you deploy it into the industry is something at a larger frame we'll have to discuss.
So if you have to look at problems to be solved for today and tomorrow, few things are important, right? One is critical thinking is important. Understanding the problem in the context of domain is important, so domain knowledge becomes important. And technology becomes an enabler to solve at scale. So how can universities integrate domain knowledge with AI skills so graduates understand both the problem and the technology?
I think domain knowledge is going to be a critical factor for the incoming workforce, because if, say, with agentic coding, where you don't need to know a line of coding, but the AI prompts, if you prompt it properly, the AI generates the code. So in those cases, domain knowledge becomes the most critical factor, and we need to have students required to study humanities much more than what it used to be in the previous generation. An engineer can absolutely go away in his life without knowing anything about, say, a philosophy. But when it comes to having algorithms to be ethical, if you want the algorithms to behave in a way how a human mind would behave, you need to have a lot of focus on not just STEM, but STEAM, when they call arts, and allied subjects. So that would become critical. And I think experiential learning or working in the domains, in specific domains, be it healthcare or journalism, what are the issues with journalism, how is it digital news, what kind of problems it is. Only when they start working in those domain knowledges, we'll get that. And we also need a lot of use case scenarios. I think from different fields, what are the challenges that they're facing, if they have implemented technologies, what are the bottlenecks. So we need to have a lot of use case being studied at the academia level.
Okay, I had a follow-up question, but you touched upon it. We'll come to faculty capability today, right? Faculty capability often determines the relevance of the curriculum, both the relevance and the way it's administered effectively. How should institutions approach faculty upskilling in rapidly evolving AI domains? You could speak about it theoretically and also from how you are approaching it at your campuses.
Yeah. So I think faculty, usually it is being always considered that the faculty are always much behind to industry standards, and there's a lot of gap there. But I think when it comes to AI adoption, academia has been as fast as how the industry is. If you see, ChatGPT is used universally by the student and by the faculty. So the adoption of technology in the academia is at the highest in this AI age. Probably not before, which I understand, but in this AI age, everybody is acutely aware of what is the scenario that is happening and how it might turn towards them, how certain skills that they had valued and for the past 15 years had given them the job might become a skill that might not that might become redundant or might be done by some application or some tool. So that awareness is very much high at least among the computer science faculty, it is very high. That I would like to acknowledge first. But the second is they'll have to upskill through a lot of micro-credentials. I don't think they have to go through the whole exercise of going and redoing a degree or anything. But there are, due to the availability of a lot of online platforms, there are regular intervals if they can upskill them with the latest tools or get latest certifications. I think that will be critical for the faculty to address the students. Otherwise, I think the faculty would, I would feel they'll feel very underconfident to go and stand in front of today's generation of students.
I mean, you have been a student and you're involved with students at your institutions probably at the graduate level, but when we spoke, you also said you go to schools often and interact with students. Obviously, that's something close to your heart. So my question is, what specific strategies can parents and students adopt to improve academic performance and long-term employability? What is the role of the parent there? What is the role of the institution? How early in life does that start?
You're saying for younger kids, is that right? So first thing, the students should naturally be curious, and parents should foster curiosity over putting them in one class after the other, so they have no time to think about what they're doing at that moment, let alone what they would like to explore. So there needs to be a lot of time for them to explore and experience. That is something we are not giving our younger generation enough. There is a lot of research now that goes on to say how boredom actually triggers creativity, how being bored. You know, the very good example is how Isaac Newton was just actually lying under an apple tree, and then the apple hit him and he got the idea of gravity. So boredom actually helps. So there's no need to occupy your children from, say, 7:30 in the morning to whenever they're going to go be asleep. So they need to be appropriately engaged, and they need to foster curiosity. I don't think they'll have to discover it themselves. But what I feel is that they don't have an environment or time to do so. That is something this generation of kids lack so much, because they are not given how our communal spaces are always occupied by traffic. I understand it's very difficult for kids to go out and explore, but somehow we need to bring in that ability for them to be curious. That is one thing. The second thing is, at no point should there be a compromise in foundational skills, because AI can do it. Because then for our generation there was a calculator, then none of us would have needed to learn basic arithmetic at all. It is a no-brainer, but they have to have basic foundational skills right. And in this way, if you see, the other biggest challenge is generative AI, so it is affecting a lot of people's communication skills. So, what we essentially call, oh, a person should have good communication skills. When you were looking for, you would mean that somebody is able to write a good email. But right now, if you prompt currently, an email comes through. But later when you are to go and interact with that person, you find them to be, oh, what are they trying to say? Are they arrogant? Do they understand the issue or not? So you get a lot of these questions. So please do not compromise on foundational skills and foster curiosity. Then it is for you as a parent and the child to discover a future and career based on their talent and their interests. It is very good that we aim high. That is something all of us have in mind. If we have 10, we always want go to 1,000. But it should also be realistic because it adds a lot of pressure to the students, especially in a digitally connected era where people post to do say they have success or they really posted, I really don't know. But that level of grounding should be there where parents understand. Say, for example, in NEET, you do realize that there are 25 lakh students writing the exam. So what is your chance of clearing? There is no way that, oh, my son is studying well, my daughter just had fever just before the exam, or he is capable, but he got on with this friend who made him like this, or there is no end to this blame game. But we need to set realistic expectation of children, at least at the right juncture. You aim for your son to become a doctor and he will clear the NEET at 6 years, it's fine. But by 16, you know what he is really capable of and how much pressure we will be able to put on him. If we are able to maintain these three critical factors, this has nothing to do with technology, but I think these foundational aspects have to be very strong for a student, for a child to be resilient first and to be agile, because when they'll be facing a lot more uncertainty than we do.
Yeah, in one of your previous responses, you spoke about the need for faculty to learn, but they don't need to do a full degree, but they can do modules. In that context, for both faculty and students, how does online education serve as an effective tool for developing supplementary specialized professional skills?
So let me share my own personal experience of online education. I think it is one of the biggest finds of this last decade, I would say. If there was one big thing that I would personally rate it, I don't know how useful it is for the rest of the world, but if I were to personally rate it, that would be one of the top 5 achievements of this decade. I was every bit skeptical of it earlier, but though I was consuming a lot of information, say through a YouTube video, it might not be an online education course, but still I'm getting that information online through a recorded format done by somebody for the world's benefit. So I'm not certified, but you do get information passively or actively, you go and search for it. And during Corona, there was again a question mark of how online education will change. Will physical education be completely replaced by online education? Would we not have this brick and mortar institutions at all? All of these questions, of course, when you are in a senior leadership role at university, they keep coming. What we've found is both of them can coexist. And both of them are there to supplement and complement each other. And I don't think both of them are in any way competing with each other. And both of them are essential for the students or for any adults active learning and for their growth. I think both have to run in parallel. Probably until a certain age, it might be a brick and mortar institution, but post that, everything is going to be online. And why I say online is critical these days is that a lot of companies have gone into skill-based hiring, wherein they give much more preference. And I make it with caution because I like to say, because a lot of students misinterpret saying that they don't need a degree. That is not the case. Your degree is like your main thing. This is just a topping. You're just adding an extra topping. It's like going to an ice cream shop and just adding the topping but not adding the ice cream. So that's not how it works. So because a lot of kids, in their craze, they just hear half the information and come and say, oh, we don't need a degree. I have 4 certifications. That's not how the industry works. So with the skill-based hiring, I think they have the opportunity to go explore a lot of things that might not be offered to them in the classroom. There is nearly impossible for us to offer everything in the classroom. It is for the students. That's why I said the students should have the time to go explore and experience something on their own. It need not all come through a teacher. It need not all come through a parent. I think a self-awareness and self-interest will create much more passion in the student to complete it, the motivation to utilize it in a better manner.
Now we'll move on to collaboration with industry or enterprises. In your view, what makes for a good, effective partnership between a university and and an enterprise or the industry. And I also would like you to speak about the way you have brought your two alma maters together at your Bhopal campus. I found that very fascinating.
Okay.
If you could share that as well.
All right. So first, let me address the part about the industry. I think collaboration is going to be the key for anybody to sustain in the future. I don't think independent entities can exist only when they are collaborating with their peers, with somebody with allied interests, with strategic interests, or some random weird collaboration, just like how Hindu is in journalism and we are into academics, but this kind of collaboration is what is needed. When it comes to industry, what I always think is that the industry, how the industry functions in India is very much different to how it functions. The same company, say in US, would function in a different way because there they are duty bound to go and help the institution. There is a lot of things that is given, but still the industry here is in a little more conservative manner. They like, I mind my own business, you mind your own business. When there is a requirement, we'll just come together. But I think it's slowly changing. The landscape is evolving primarily because they need to have talent that is ready to be deployed. So that is the primary reason, of course. The second part is that they also understand that until they nurture ingrown talent and they have ingrown industry problems, they will not be able to improve on their R&D. And given that a lot of restrictions is coming up in the Western world, India has to be independent and resilient on the R&D front, which we are not for now. So they need to have a lot of investment inside the institution, which goes beyond just giving us inputs on academics or telling us what kind of certifications they want, or just coming for and coming and guiding our students, but where they can commit themselves to the institution for a longer period of time and for longer set of goals, and where there is possibility to collaborate. And I think sabbaticals, it is a common practice in academia, but industry should also have sabbaticals, where they are also motivated to come and work in the academia for some time. So only when there is cross-flow, cross-pollination happens between, then we will see a robust mechanism. Otherwise, it will just be disjointed, where we just come, do something, and then all of us leave.
And talk us through between the partnership between two of the institutions you studied in.
So, like I said, collaboration is the key. So, I am a graduate of Johns Hopkins University. So, for the past 2 years, VIT Bhopal and Johns Hopkins have been conducting a hackathon, which is largely based on AI applications in healthcare. So this has attracted about 1,000 teams this year, around 1,000 teams from all over the country. It has teams from medical colleges, engineering institutions, from business schools, where they pitch the idea, and it is a 2-day event. So I was just telling him that's the vice president couldn't make it because he had gone for the inaugural function there. And that is a truly successful partnership, because that's the only hackathon even that Johns Hopkins is conducting, and that too, that's not in their campus. They're doing it with an Indian partner university.
Maybe you should study more and get more partnerships. My last question before we go to audiences. I mean, you work in a leadership role in a large, respected institute. It's big both in scale and stature. And you're fairly young. I mean, certainly younger compared to me. But you got to where you got through focus and dedication, which I think is inspiring and important for younger people to know. So in a couple of minutes, could you take us through your personal journey from where you started and what you do now?
So I was just telling him as well, my education and what I do are completely different, which makes me a true-bred Indian. I think all Indians are like that. What we studied and what we end up doing are two disparate things. So I graduated with a degree in biotechnology from VIT and did my master's in public health from Johns Hopkins. And then it's all been VIT, 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 VIT. And in 2013, I started my career as assistant vice president. And in 2016, I spearheaded the initiative of establishing VIT campus in Bhopal. So, so that has taken much of my career has been focused on developing that. And now we have about 17,500 students in Bhopal in the last 8-9 years. And so that's a very, very short brief history of my career at VIT.
Perfect. Very, very interesting and exciting. We have time for a couple of questions. So if somebody has, gentleman there.
Yeah, hi. So you're mentioning that learning and critical thinking are necessary. I've been hearing this like repeatedly, but I think we lack something fundamental, because if you ask a kid in 9th standard who is studying 9th grade right now, or an engineer or any of you right now, we always expect a fixed answer. But I think society and science doesn't work like that. Because if I ask most of the people here, can AI exist without fire? Everybody is going to say yes, but what is the interconnection that has, like you can see 10,000 years of history, right? So what are we going to do about it? Because everything is interconnected. So my question is, fundamentally we lack that. Would you accept that?
Fundamentally we lack what?
Fundamentally we lack to see systems level thinking and connections between what led to what and how it can exist without that. I know it's a deeper question, but fundamentally learning is broken, I would say.
I know this has been I know a lot of social media people say Indian systems are all of rote learning.
No, I'm not talking about Indian systems in general, because people are not able to see.
In general, you say that this is not prevalent in any country, or you say it's in some.
Not just India. I'm not taking up any institution, anything in particular. The question is, learning is broken because we are not able to see the systematic level connection between physics, chemistry, biology, and maths, because everything led to what we are doing now.
I'll come to the question. That is because most of the education systems in the world have very clear distinction of what subject is. In maths, if you go, you will do multiplication. You don't know where this multiplication is going to be used in commerce, how this multiplication is going to be used in calculating speed of a vehicle. So all of that is never being taught. So they are all taught as very individualistic, compartmentalized aspects, except for a country called Finland, where they have a phenomenon-based education. So there, for example, if they take corona, so anything related to corona they study. So the biology of it, the history of it, the geographical dynamics of it, so all the technology implications of it. So that is called a phenomenon way of studying. So where you look into a problem and you study it from all corners and you learn. So it is basically how your learning system is. And what you're saying is a very higher order thinking skills. People who are involved in systems biology, systems engineering, they might probably be seeing the interconnectedness of systems, because that is their discipline of study. Otherwise, all of us are focused on what we are supposed to be doing.
Thank you. We'll take one final question. There was a gentleman there. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Sir, ma'am, the artificial intelligence, there are many fake images and false information is coming out in the media. So because the artificially created images, what will be the effect on the younger generation, especially the mind of children?
Yes, sir. That is why I keep saying the importance of having digital-free kids, at least for a very young age, because a lot of children do not understand the difference between what is reality and what is fake. Because it is so real. Even sometimes even you get fooled thinking, oh, all this is happening. So if you see, there will be Marina Beach, the water is coming till, till city center. If somebody was to create a video, you and I would know, but if some 4-year-old child sees, he will think, oh, that is a possibility. So this has to be, this cannot be dealt with. It's a genie, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. There's no way you're going to stop the generative content flowing from, but this is why you need algorithms that are ethical. But that's why I said, when we study, we have to have a lot of information on philosophy, so we teach the system to be ethical and moral. But there is no way we are going to put the generative AI back into its bottle. It is going to exist. It is better that we avoid that space of the internet.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Kadambari. Lovely talking to you, and best wishes for every single plan you have for the future.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. It's safe to say the audience genuinely enjoyed that session. Just give us a few moments while we set up the stage for our next session. Thank you.
Every time I meet a potential client for the first time, the first thing I check with them is when did they last review their portfolios. I'm always surprised to find that some of the most seasoned investors haven't reviewed their portfolios in years.
So ladies and gentlemen, up next we have a panel discussion, and as always we're looking forward to enthusiastic participation from the audience. I must say that that's something that we've been very happy about all of yesterday and today as well. Our next panel discussion is titled Data Privacy as a Pillar of Resilience Building, Trust in a Digital Age. I think we'll all agree that privacy is no longer just a compliance checkbox. It's a core pillar of resilience and trust in this digital age. This session explores how integrating ISO 27001 and ISO 27701 enables organizations to embed privacy by design, strengthen continuity, and turn responsible data governance into a competitive advantage. I'd like to welcome our speakers onto the stage, starting off with Mr. A.N. Srinivasan, Senior Vice President, IT and Global Head, Oracle Services at SRF Limited. With over 30 years of experience in IT and large-scale digital transformation, he leads global Oracle services and high-impact technology programs. A recognized thought leader and award-winning CIO, he specializes in cloud migration, AI adoption, and more. Can we give him a round of applause? Next, we'd like to welcome Mr. Jagdishwaran B., Senior General Manager, IT, TVS Automobile. With over 20 years of experience in automotive technology transformation, he leads large-scale IT programs aligned with business strategy. Widely recognized for his impact in IT modernization and automation, he is a multiple-time CIO 100 awardee and advocate of emerging technologies, including AI and cybersecurity. Welcome, sir. Next, I'd like to welcome Mr. Shiva Shanmuga Muthu, Senior Director, Insights and Data, GBL, Capgemini, with over 25 years of experience leading large-scale data transformation programs. He specializes in data engineering, data science, and generative AI. Welcome, sir. Rounding out the panel, Mr. Sivasubramaniam M., Vice President and CDIO, JK Fenner India Limited. He is a seasoned digital leader with over 2 decades of experience. He drives enterprise IT strategy and digital transformation across industries. Recognized for his expertise in AI and future technologies, he brings strong leadership experience from senior digital roles. Welcome, Mr. Sivasubramaniam. And of course, moderating the panel is Mr. Nagaraj, Vice President, Data and Analytics, The Hindu. Let's give all of our panelists a big round of applause as we start this session.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to talk about data privacy, but with a very specific lens. The theme for our conference is continuity unbroken. So we want to look at privacy as not just a compliance checklist or a legal hurdle. We want to treat it as the infrastructure for trust. In an AI world, if our users lose faith in us or how we handle their data, they leave. And if they were to leave, that's a fundamental problem with our ability to carry on our business. So we are here to explore privacy as a competitive advantage, the essential bridge that keeps the relationship between the user and the technology intact. First, I have the panel divided into 3 themes. The first theme that we look at is the idea of the contract of trust. Many of you would have encountered systems where even before you transact, you go to the website or you go to the app, you are asked to agree to terms and conditions. Terms and conditions generally say accept all cookies, reject all cookies, accept only necessary ones, and so on. Technically, we are taking informed consent from the user. Now, with AI models, particularly AI models that use generative AI, LLMs, what we take the informed consent for is we ourselves don't know how the model is going to use it. We ourselves don't know what's going to come out of it at some point in time. So if the user is clicking yes to something we ourselves don't know how it's going to be used, is it even right? Are we engaging in a legal fiction where we are asking a user to give us informed consent to the usage of their data in our algorithm, which we don't know how it will be used and what it will be used for? Are we being honest to our customers when we say we know how your data is used? So my first question to the panel is, privacy laws protect data, but AI creates insights. So there are two aspects to this. The first question I'd like you to answer, each of you in turn, is when we say informed consent, do we ourselves believe it's informed consent, number one? And number two is, we take the data, our AI models infer something from it, and are we allowed to have that inference separate from the data that we collected? An example that I can give you is, based on your search pattern, the search engine might know that you are searching for things around, let's say, a certain medical condition. Now, you never entered the medical condition in the search window, in the search box, but the model figured out that this is what it's about. So, can the company providing the service say, I didn't collect that data from you, that's data that I inferred. All I did was collect the data that you did willingly give me yourself. So, let's go. Mr. Srinivasan?
Hello. Yeah. See, data collection is a very critical aspect of any AI model, yes. So, as you also said that, we also collect data, let's say in terms of manufacturing. So, the data, what we collect is very critical. That is, what kind of a data we collect is really important, that we ensure that the data which we collect is only pertinent to the operation which we are going to carry out. I mean, operation means what? I'm not saying that operation, not a medical operation, but the operation which we want to carry out based on the data. I can give you an example, okay? So we collect our supplier data as well as a customer data. For example, I will tell you how we do a consent. I'll just digress a little bit. So we take, let's say, for example, we have something called a procurement cloud. Okay, we use something called procurement cloud. So we ask the supplier to fill in the data which we want himself using that cloud, which means the supplier himself is going to provide a data A, B, C, D, and that data will be residing in our system. It applies to customer also. So tomorrow, when I am doing an analysis based on, if I say based on the customer pattern or a way he is buying the material or etc., that is the inference the organization is coming out based on the data provided by the customer. But if you say that, that is, from an organization perspective, we do based on the data given by us. But that inference can be a data, it is not a data. If you ask me, it is an inference of the data which he has provided, which an organization will be using it for its purpose. The problem will come only when it goes out of the organization. Let's say the data which I collect from my customer A, let's say in our case, the price is a critical thing, okay? So when we supply something at a price A to a customer, and the customer knows that if that price goes out of to customer B, then that will create a problem. But otherwise, as long as that confidentiality is maintained, As long as that privacy is maintained, at least I don't foresee an issue in that. But the problem is once this privacy is broken, then in our case, there is a point called customer trust. We will be losing the customer trust for sure. Which means, let's say in your question, healthcare itself, what you have asked. So if you have collected a data about some patient's detail, that's what it...
Let me clarify. If you fill the healthcare form, obviously you will reveal whatever your medical conditions are. I'm talking about a more innocent scenario where, let's say you have certain symptoms, so you are just using Google or ChatGPT or whichever engine to search this out. So the information that you have given actually is not the information that the service provider is going to use to respond back to you.
Valid point. Actually, I may go a little out of context in this case, and then only I can explain to it. See, we have a R&D division also, where scientists work. We are in the process of going for an application, okay? So, the trend is to go for a SaaS-based application. You will not believe, even though we are in the technological world, what many of us feel is, we want to be in the SaaS, we want to use the power of AI, we want to use power of AI to get other information, but at the same time we want to safeguard our data. We don't want our data to go to the LLM provider or any of the LLM providers. So the model which we are building, okay, we want to ensure the metadata part of it remains with us, which means I just want to use that LLM to get the public general data, but at the same time whatever data which gets generated remains within my tenant. So this is a design which we work. I am sure many of the organizations where, let's say, research-based organizations, they don't want their data to go to the public LLM. Otherwise, many companies will be folded up. So I'm sure organization will be working to ensure that to retain their data, but at the same time use the public other general data. This is how we do it.
Okay. Mr. Shiv Subramaniam.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Hindu and Mr. Nagaraju, for making this panel. And the subject is very dry, and that is especially after lunch is kind of I could see there are the ambience is also in such a way that people can get into the meditation mode. I think we need to be more different scenarios for this panel. Let me split into two things. One is from the personal side of data and AI and what we disclose in the public. And second thing, we'll talk about how corporate is handling it. In a personal era, this particular digital or AI era, there is no privacy. The privacy is only in the public. So Googles of the world and YouTubes of the world knows about you much more than what you know about yourself. So it's not only from your health perspective, even your travel perspective, the places which you visit and the things which you eat and what are the medicines you eat and who are your friend circle, whom are you socially connected with. All that, everything is right from your phone book to your photos, to your videos, to your search pattern, to your buying history, and your eating habit of Swiggy's and Zomatos of the world. They know kind of tomorrow we don't even be surprised that they can become an astrologer for you, saying that this is how your future is going to be. So it's basically privacy is in public for you, for as a person.
So you're basically saying that the typical consumer should have no expectation of privacy.
Is there any possibility when you download an app and can you go ahead without even accepting it? It's like signing a home loan, right? Home loan agreement, it's all fine print, maybe 7 or 6 inch, whatever the fine print. We don't even read it and we sign it, right? When you get into litigation that time you'll come to know all this, whatever you mentioned is there and that you have signed it.
Correct. So This is for the entire panel. It may seem as though I am arguing with Mr. Sivasubramanian,
No,
but it's not. So, a couple of perspectives here. The first perspective is going back to my original question, which is informed consent. So, we can treat informed consent two ways as service providers. One way to treat it is to say somebody is supposed to check that box. They have checked that box, so I'm fine with using whatever data they have given me. The other is to look at it in a more integrated manner in the matter of building trust, that I want to make sure that this person understands what they are giving me and how it will be used, right? So two things, that's one part of it. The other part of it is also around the expectation from the consumer in dealing with us. If you are using Google Maps, it's already obvious that Google Maps is going to have all your locations. Whenever you have used Google Maps, it knows exactly where you have been, etc. But that is not very obvious with more general products, number one. And number two is also what you do with that information as a corporate. If Google starts selling you stuff based on where you have been, then you will actually have a very strong negative reaction to what Google is doing.
Actually, knowingly or unknowingly, we are living in this world. Like you yourself said that you search for certain things, and if the data is not paused, one simple example, I was in the air and just landing in Bombay, somebody from Bombay near the airport calls me saying that, sir, aapko cab chahiye kya karke? How some ex-person knows that I'm just landing in Bombay, and because I put a poster saying that I'm traveling to Mumbai. So immediately after landing, you are getting a call. So data is, I would not say it's compromised. It is been for whatever the business purposes. You have already agreed for it. So this is from the personal front. See, corporate perspective, what are the data we are going to have it? We are talking about your personal data, and another one is on your product data, or maybe your research data, or maybe your confidential data of an organization. This is from the data security and the productivity perspective. Second, from personal data perspective, who are the one is either you will have all the entire employees' data, your suppliers and vendors and your customers' data and your product data, and also maybe people who are visiting. So wherever you have, and obviously you will have a consent for taking this information, what purpose, its limit for that particular purpose, how long I can retain that particular information for you. For suppose if I'm a visitor, you are disclosing. Again, if it is a digital form, then there is a consent. If it is a physical form, then there is no consent. Yeah. But how do you know that this person, anybody in the security takes a photo and makes it as a digital? So there are lots of parameters. This is from the visitor side, and similarly for your supplier data or your customers' data. How confidence you can give it to your customers is basically on getting it certified by maybe 27001 certification, or kind of adhering to the DPDP Act or GDPR if you are doing a business within Europe, and you need to be mandatorily having a GDPR, and you need to have a data protection officer. These are all governance side which gives a comfort to the customer, saying that yes, these are the certain things which has been kind of ensured by some regulatory authorities, and there is an audit and whatever things happens on a particular periodic one. So we do kind of, from the organization which I represent, we serve to the customers in the US as well. So there is something called CTPAT. So it is like consumer terrorism attack. What is the product which we deliver to the customer, and there is nothing to do with the terrorism attack. But there is a rigorous audit happens on basis of how do you secure data, who can access this particular data, and who are all the people and who need to know basis. All that is part of this particular certification agencies. So that kind of gives a comfort feeling for the customer. So I'll leave it here maybe.
Mr. Shiv Shanmugam.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So, first of all, I would say that this is have both the two sides of the coin. I come from the protection industry, predominantly in the insurance last 10 years plus, and before that with healthcare. So, if you ask me, the data, whether the consent is given and what purpose it is used, either if you go cross-sell, upsell opportunities, then definitely the data must be used for all other purposes. For example, if I go and approach a customer and who come and onboarded in my, say, a personal risk services, auto or home insurance, I have an option to go and further cross-sell, upsell, for which some of these behaviors has to be tracked in terms, that's where the Google Tag Manager or the customer data platforms like Segment and Adobe, everything comes into the picture. So they do the right thing for the purpose of getting the businesses one side, getting the better experience for the people is the other side. So you need to have both. At the same time, without invading the privacy, that is the silver lining. We have to be really understanding that when it is tick in the box, if somebody says the data should not be used, then that has to be taken it up very carefully. But when it comes to a world of this learning and unlearning happening in the faster pace, that is still, I would say, a kind of a research in motion. So a lot of research going on with respect to how do you make sure that if user revoke the consent in the newer DPDP from Indian context or the GDPR or any other regulatory pursuit. Still, the research is still ongoing, but it doesn't mean that it's beyond our control. There are control mechanisms currently in place with the structured way of taking the data out in the learned models, and there are ways to create a localized small language models or something like that to ensure that your customers' trust is not going away. So in short, trust is very important. So the privacy is a kind of a wallet. The trust has to be preserved in that wallet. If you lose, we will lose the business. So we are very much aware of that. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Jagdishwar.
Check. Good afternoon, everyone. I think the other co-panelists almost covered. So I'll just touch upon the purpose of the informed consent. So the purpose of informed consent is to have a transparency between the consumer and the supplier. If you take the organizations which we collect large volume of data, like as we discussed, there will be a consent tick box, knowingly or unknowingly we just making a check box. But while considering the governance and compliance perspective, the DPDP or GDPR complaints, what they bringing in is the transparency. Like, suppose if I am a customer, before going black box or without reading the checkbox, I must ensure that I need to read that the consent, what consent I am going for, whether I am sharing only the personal data or the transactional data is also going to be used as a good purpose for myself. Let's take an example of a retail industry or a hospitality industry. The personal data also get captured as along with the health records. So using the health records, if we get any proactive message or any alert to diagnose at the early stage, that would be a meaningful purpose, and there is a transparency created for getting the informed consent. That will be a win-win situation for both the parties. So that's how I envisage. So it's an evolving stage right now for entire industry, I hope so. So everybody will work for getting the data into a informed consent with the greater insight of a wallet-based way, so that it gets protected. At the same time, there will be a transparency between the consumer and the supplier.
Thank you. Actually, what you said, Mr. Jagdishwaran, leads me to the final question in this theme, and we'll do a quick check from your side towards this side. Would you agree that we need some kind of, just like food products have nutritional labels, that information products and apps should have some kind of label for AI usage?
Yeah, absolutely. Because before getting the consent, so it has to be transparent. Like, for example, personal data is captured, customer must say yes. And after that, there could be the list of things. For example, this will be used for the proactive messages or any seasonal communications and so on, so that each statuses will get recorded inside the system. Accordingly, the AI will act on. For example, tomorrow if you want to remove any consent from the customer, or there will be a transparency given to the customer saying that if he wants to remove his consent, so the AI will work accordingly. So that's the transparency I look for actually. That will also fall in place in the coming days.
So what I was conveying is the Digi Yatra, the one, our digital public infrastructure from our government, that you can very well quote the very best applications that we built in India, how it act on the consent. So it doesn't ask you or make you mandatory, but it work on the basis of consent, and the data is basically preserved in the local device, the purely edge computing. The inference is happening locally in your own device. It doesn't go to the public or a central server. That's the second. Third, the data is completely encrypted, both at rest and as well as at the transmission. So all the protocol standards are well maintained. And within 24 hours, the data that was stored in the airport, it get vanished or deleted. It's a hard delete after 24 hours. It's clearly published by and also answered by our, I think, Honorable Minister in the Rajya Sabha, that is also in the press, how Digi Yatra protecting the privacy. So just wanted to call it out. We show the example to the world, and this trust can be enforced everywhere. So I don't think we need to worry too much, but the research is all going on with respect to make the life easier for how to make the models forget.
So I have a little different thing, like you are touching upon, suppose if I'm having a cup of coffee, so I would like to know how much calorie I should burn, or what is my sugar intake and whatever starch and things. So here in this case, so suppose if I have an AI model which runs and gives an input or output, so I should know what is the kind of environment which output is being coming at. We keep training the models, right? So whatever the knowledge base you give it, you'll have to kind of give a geofencing for that particular model. So with this, like for example, if you want to have what kind of data you have fed in, what kind of inference which you want to take out of it, and what period of data which you have given it for it, and what context you are asking a question which is responding to it. So whether it is a 2-year-old kid or it is a doctorate kid, it's again, that environment has to be kind of there for any AI model. Like if I'm saying that, so I'm giving it with the basis of this. This is what is my limited knowledge. I'm answering you in terms of maybe 800% knowledge level, or maybe at a doctorate knowledge level. So maybe that is there, then it predefines. You can keep prompting it, then it will tell you, oh, this is what you are asking for. So then, okay, so sometimes you might have it in the knowledge base, but when you ask a question, it says that no, then you have to tell them that, hey, can you please recheck and validate, is there anything else is there? So which means that whatever the perimeter, it needs to be defined, then it is better for the consumers of this particular platform will help.
Mr. Srinivasan? Yeah, I'll go with the example he had given on Digi Yatra. So when you are giving a consent or when you are feeding the data, the AI model or wherever you are feeding it, they need to tell us what is the purpose of collecting the data. For example, each of the field, let's say whether it is relevant for whatever is the purpose, that field, that they have to give an explanation. Okay, I'll just quote a little bit. I know I was part of one of the government's, state government's digital, one of the digital meetings, okay. So even if you see, even very own our state government itself, if you see some of the apps, they may have, initially they may have so many fields. You have 20, 25, even 30 fields. Now a bigger exercise is going on, where they are reducing from 30 fields to 10 fields, which means data minimization. So this my view is, this is happening considering not to capture unwanted, unnecessary data. So which means I think people are aware that we need to be sure what kind of data we are providing and what is the purpose of providing. So my view is, I think this awareness has started even at a government level itself. So we also need to be very careful why a particular data is requested by let's say by a site. What is the purpose? If you feel that, if you feel it's not relevant to enter it, you should not do it, and I'm not saying you should take it up with them, or you should send a mail asking them, why do you want me to give this data? So I think the data minimization is important. People should be aware and conscious what is the type of, what is the data they are entering, and they should be clear what can be the purpose of it. The guy should tell, but my view is, I don't know whether at every time they will be telling it. The public should be conscious. There should be a self-awareness program or something to do with that, where they should be conscious about not to give. There are many examples for this. For example, nowadays bank is circulating a lot of messages also.
Sorry to interrupt you, but actually you've kind of touched upon the next theme.
Okay.
So I'll move to that. I'll ask that question and you can continue with your answer. Inside a company, typically between especially if you're in a consumer product company, the product guys want to do a lot of stuff using AI, and they need more and more data, more and more parameters for the data. And the typical CIO is going to say pretty much the things you said just now, which is data minimization, don't collect the stuff you don't want to use, don't collect the stuff that that will cause privacy issues, let's not collect those. So there is this tension or friction between one part of the company needing more and more data, and there is the other part of the company which is more involved in security and compliance and has the headache of protecting all this data. How will we resolve this tension?
Yeah, that is okay. I already said that we touched upon the concept of instead of collecting more and more data, it is always to collect better data. This is the concept which we are following at least in the manufacturing organizations. Because, I don't want to diverge the topic, but I'll tell you, there is a concept of Industry 4.0. I think most of us know about 4.0. Now there is a concept of Industry 5.0. So the big difference between these two is, in 4.0 is basically a garbage in, garbage out, okay? But Industry 5.0, what it stresses is, there is no point collecting the garbage. Better to collect what is the relevant data or what is the process data, which means that is why now the concept of edge computing comes, which means let's say you have an AI model running in your organization. You need to be very careful what is the data which is going to be fed to that model. So what we are all doing, I think most of the manufacturing organizations now must be doing it, they keep something called an edge processor, where the data which, let's say, collected from the machines are getting processed, okay? And only the processed data which goes to the AI model. So, which means we are taking utmost precaution to ensure we are not feeding the AI model the data which may not be relevant to it, or only those data which is required for the model for processing, which is expected to deliver a particular thing. So what I'm trying to say is, there is no point of more data. You need to be very careful with a better data quality so that you don't compromise on the privacy also.
Mr. Shivshanmugam?
Yeah, see, I wanted to take one analogy. I think I come from the data analytics world, right? So at least a decade back, we were all taught data is a new oil, new commodity. You need to fine it, medallion architecture, bronze, silver, gold, and get everything done. Okay. In the same venue, exactly a year ago, I believe, in the AA summit, I think T.G. Santosh has coined it. Data is a new milk, and we need to use it and preserve it at the right time, right purpose. I still remember, but I'm telling to you, data is a uranium now. So you have to use it with the right purpose, with right guardrail, with the right planning in place. And you can't keep your uranium in your garage or underground, and it will last its life. But you know I don't need to tell what that half-life is all about. So it will spoil you and everybody. So simple, my suggestion, gather the right data, what is needed for your purpose. Data minimalization is important. Let A be hungry, but we have to be cautious about what data we are collecting, how much parameterization is needed. Go with simple and small language models. And even I wanted to quote what our Honorable Minister Ashwini Vaishnav told in the Davos recent economic summit, that India is in the powerful place. We are in the 5-stack tier of the AI world. We are at the top tier.
Do you know what's the future of cloud computing? It's Docker and Kubernetes. Why? Because technology is continuously evolving and businesses are shifting towards cloud-based solutions, and containerization is the most popular method of doing so. And guess what? You can learn the basics of Docker and Kubernetes for free. Attend Scala's masterclass on fundamentals of Docker and Kubernetes to learn the concepts of containerization and the most popular commands. By the end of the session, you will be able to build your first Docker file from scratch. So without further ado, click on the link below to register.
Right, so all that, like you said, the oil, refine, fine, all that is now gone. Now it is a pure oxygen. We'll have to see how we'll have to take the O2 from the oxygen.
Mr. Jagdish,
I just quickly say, relating to the context, so data is the new oxygen. So coming to the context, as a customer, oxygen is important for me. With informed consent, what all I am supposed to give my consent, that is to be taken care of, so that I will be happy when the data is used appropriately with by the organization with some kind of an AI tools that get protected. The other side of it, at the organization level, again the data is an oxygen for them also. So they have to use the data in a proper way, like the government, how they are taking a new initiatives like Digiyatra kind of stuff, put up more encryptions and bring more trust to the customers. So that's how I see this is going to come up.
Thank you. I'm moving on to the third theme, which is more technical. So we know the 27001 and 27301 ISO standards. These are standards to follow. In many cases, these are required for compliance. Your thoughts on treating it as compliance versus treating it as your infrastructure for trust?
It's a typical question, but compliance perspective, we have to honor whatever the compliance are in place. Especially in terms of doing a proactive or a periodic audit, so that the risk and the vulnerabilities get mitigated appropriately. That is one side of it. The other side of it, as an infrastructure, of course it has to be there, so that we will generate the whatever form, whatever the way we want to generate the data. So both are two sides of the coin. That's what I treat, and that's my perspective actually.
So in my view, I would say the guardrails of the regulations and the standards are not a speed breaker, rather a seat belt. So we have to wear it and to move fast in this journey. So that's how we have to see.
So for me it is like this. It's a roadmap. It's a process. So it has to be a way of life. It is not that we should not work in the system. We should work through the system. It's a kind of, so why do people get certified? One is certificate so that at least you are ensuring that this all been kind of adhered to it. Second thing is when it is becoming a process over a period of time, then renewals and again audit and all that, after some time it will become a way of life. Right, so if you say without having some certain certifications, you are saying, okay, I'm adhering to it, but how do you ensure and how do you kind of comply to that? So one is, it's a process. First you get certified, then maybe you will become kind of process, then it will become part of your life.
Okay. So my view is, it is part of the infrastructure. Okay. I can say very simply, we don't want the data to go to dark web, simple. Okay. So I don't know how many of you know, I think 2024, 23 late, 24, so many things happen. Okay. So we are very clear, it is part of the infrastructure. To take it as a part of the infrastructure to safeguard the organization's data, as simple as that, okay? And our view is, if we take it as an infrastructure and put all the guardrails and everything in place, compliance will be automatically met is our view, okay? And yes, compliance also needs to be met, but if you do it for the sake of compliance, you will always miss out on A or B or C. So if you take it as an infrastructure and where your organization's data is protected, I'm sure compliance will also be met.
Thank you so much. That brings me to the end of this session, but before I wrap up, I just have one question which each of you to answer in only one sentence, particularly, which is, what's your view on using synthetic data to go around some of the issues that we have with over-collection of real-world data?
Privacy.
Yeah.
That one word, no?
Not one word, one sentence.
One sentence, okay. So synthetic data is one of the data techniques generally used for a better privacy.
Shiva?
I'll reserve that.
So synthetic data, yes, in my opinion, it's a game changer, definitely. But I mean, not necessarily for all the applications, you don't need real noise, real grounded data. There are applications which sufficient enough with the synthetic data. So it should be effectively utilized where definitely it needed.
Shiva Subramaniam?
Basically, it need to be used wisely.
Okay.
Of course, obviously, we need to use synthetic data in terms of AI. So, of course, we use actually with a meaningful purpose.
Right. But are we speaking only of IoT kind of synthetic data, or even?
It's applicable business to business cases. For example, if it is automobile industry or in manufacturing industry, probably IoT data. If it is a healthcare industry, probably the medical imaging data or any images which retrieved from the health records, something like that. So we cannot use real-time data for using some test cases and all. So where the synthetic data will take place.
The ring which I'm wearing, this creates a synthetic data. It tells me how do I sleep, what is my sleeping pattern, what is the calorie burn, all that it gives. So again, how do I use it? The data is there, data is there, but what is the next step?
Okay.
I'll tell you one more sentence.
Sure.
Synthetic data is used for a better AI modeling result.
Okay.
That is one of the use of synthetic data.
Sure. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this panel. Let's open to questions.
Hello. On the one hand, you mentioned that AI is data hungry. On the other hand, there are privacy issues, there are patent issues, copyright issues, restrictions on accessibility, etc. So to what extent in the long run, AI-related output from the public domain will be usable or reliable? That is one part. Another part is you mentioned about data being the new oil, uranium, milk, etc., etc. But on the other hand, liability is also put for its leakage by GDPR or Indian acts, etc. So from a company perspective, is data is proven to be an asset or a liability?
It is definitely an asset. So forward-looking organization, it is going to be a bigger asset. So you'll be able to dig out lots of things. For example, if you want to become forecast your how is the sales is going to be there, and if you want to have a predictive analytics, what kind of scenario, what kind of environment, what kind of inventory you should keep it in this part of the world or that part of the world, all that it can give. Data is definitely an asset. It is not a liability.
So in my view, it can be, I mean, as I said, it's an asset as well as a liability. How would you use it? How much you carry? How much you generate? So go the minimalization purpose, and the tug of war or the debate of whether AI hunger for data, privacy promotes lesser data, both are same for the logical reason. So we have to be mindful, and in my opinion, it's on both. How you use it appropriately. It's like our own day-to-day life, right? Your balance sheet, asset and liability. The same money go into both the places. How you are positioning it.
Data is basically the experience, right? Suppose if a person in the industry uses stalwart, he has seen every scenario. It's all stored here. And if any scenario you get into it, okay, he has handled it, so it has become a way of life for him. He doesn't need to dig out what are the scenarios. He's not going to, what like somebody was, in the previous panel, people are talking about, I do a kind of maths, physics, chemistry. How do I correlate? It doesn't, the education is just for a qualification. It's like a passport, right? Whatever the data you accumulated, the informations, the decisions which you have taken over a period of maybe 40 years, 50 years, by showing it, you'll be able to take a decision. It's like, again, I'm saying from the 8th standard kids to a degree holder, it's an age difference, and because of the age difference, he might have come through lots of environment, what are the scenarios, issues, he might have resolved it, so it has become a way of life. So this is what is going to happen with the data. It's again, we need to use it wisely, and we need to kind of capture it, what data it's, including the noise, we need to keep it, or only the filtered data you'll have to keep it. If it is a filtered and wisely used data, it is an asset. If it is a lots of noise data which is there, then it has become a liability.
Thank you. How to establish trust for technology in senior citizens? Like they don't trust the telemedication platforms and all. So how to battle with this? That's my question.
See, mostly through awareness programs. So they are supported by their son and daughters. So create more awareness. Without awareness, it's very difficult to implement any programs, especially on the technology wise. Nowadays technologies are very, very intuitive, so that's the only way of making use of any technology or technology oriented facilities.
Actually, this is not a technical question, it is a clear psychological way of treating people. So this happens even in the organization. You don't need to go to senior citizen. Even in the operations, in the manufacturing, in the legacy organization, you go, make them to think about digital mindset itself. It's all about mindset, right? So there are ways, but again, maybe through training, ensuring, I'm sure that many of the people, they don't even log into the banking app in their mobile. So they will have one keyboard, kind of keypad, one phone is only for the, getting a OTP from bank, another one which they use it for it. But again, it's all mindset, perception.
So maybe let me add, actually there are a lot of developments are happening and lot I have implemented. Hopefully you know digital twin, right? The digital twins helps the senior citizens very effectively. And I think lot is coming up here, but what I recently understood that in Singapore, there is a senior citizen enclave that helps on their day-to-day digital infrastructure support, where there is a bot that helps them to do all their, I mean, it's like your day-to-day chores. making your payment, making your appointment with your GPs, or getting a specialty treatment, and to make you live longer independently. The digital twins is a technology that is helping a lot in that aspect. So a lot of developments are coming up, keeping the disability, inclusivity, it's all part of the DSG drive. So we have many solutions now available, caters to the senior citizens.
Thank you.
Is that it? You've been a wonderful audience, and my colleagues here on stage, you've been a wonderful panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Hindu Tech Summit 2026 is presented by the Velo Institute of Technology, co-presented by SIFI Technologies, our associate partners, Skylark Information Technologies, Kellogg Brown & Root, Tally Solutions, and Virtusa. Our realty partner is G Square Housing, our state partner, Government of Karnataka, our television partner, Puthiya Thalaimurai, our digital news partner, The Federal, our knowledge partner, CIO Association, our industry partner, Madras Management Association, our ecosystems partner, Startup Singham Season 2, and our gift partner, Nexus. Our next panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, is titled Bridging Academia and Industry, Building the Resilience Talent Pipeline. Resilient systems demand resilient talent, and the growing complexity of cyber risk, compliance, and digital transformation is widening the skills gap. This session explores how academia and industry can collaborate to embed ISO frameworks, risk management, and real-world experience into learning pathways that future-proof organizations. I'd like to welcome on stage Dr. Shankar Venugopal, Vice President, Technology, Innovation, and Intellectual Property, Mahindra & Mahindra. He leads technology innovation and intellectual property strategy across automotive and farm equipment businesses at Mahindra & Mahindra. A prolific inventor with 30+ patents and multiple global innovation awards, he brings deep R&D expertise shaped by leadership roles across global organizations. Welcome, Dr. Shankar. Next, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ashok Tyagarajan, Vice President, Learning and Development, Intellect Design Arena Limited, a techno-functional leader with over 2 decades of cross-industry experience. He has worked across architecture, design, and development while leading global brands. Now heading Learning and Development, he focuses on mentoring young talent and building future-ready capability across the organization. Welcome, sir. Next up. We also have with us Dr. Parthasarathi Malik, Pro Vice Chancellor, Vellore Institute of Technology, a distinguished academician with deep expertise in microelectronics and applied research. He has led pioneering research initiatives and secured multiple Government of India grants. He plays a key role at VIT, advancing academic excellence, global collaborations, and institutional innovation. A big welcome to our illustrious panel. This session will be moderated by Mr. L.V. Navneet, CEO of The Hindu.
Thank you. So when we speak about resilience, the conversation often centers on frameworks, technology, and governance. But no disaster recovery system, continuity plan, or security framework succeeds without one foundational element. People who know how to think and people who know how to act in times of disruption. In that sense, resilience is not built into systems, it's built into capabilities. And today's organizations operate in complex environments shaped by cyber threats, digital dependency, regulatory pressure, and global interconnectivity. Yet, many academic programs still emphasize coding, infrastructure, or theory without equally addressing business continuity, disaster recovery, information security governance, and data privacy management. This creates a gap. Industry needs professionals who understand risk, resilient processes, compliance obligations, and operational continuity. Universities often produce graduates with technical skills but limited exposure to resilience thinking, incident coordination, or governance frameworks. This panel explores how academia and industry can work together to close that gap. The focus of the panel is twofold. The first is to examine current gaps in curricula, where resilience-related disciplines are fragmented, optional, or treated as niche topics rather than as foundational knowledge. Second is to define future-ready syllabus that incorporates business continuity planning, disaster recovery architecture, information security management, privacy by design, risk assessment, and incident response coordination into mainstream education. This panel explores how education systems can become a foundational pillar in the architecture of trust and continuity. So we will dive into the discussion. My first question is for Ashok. Ashok, my question is, why is resilience ultimately a people capability and not just a system capability?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I think, like you have touched upon a very core of survival of organizations, right? So I also align with your belief that resilience is a capability of people and not of systems. I'll probably break it down for you and for the interest of the audience as well. If you look at our lives today, like we all exist in a digitally connected world, right? So there are so many apps that we use, and through these apps we orchestrate our existence, right? Be it the financial transactions, be it our communication needs, entertainment needs, your networking, socializing, so on and so forth, right? So this gives a notion that systems are very resilient, right? So when you talk about resilience of systems, what they offer is availability, resilience, reliability and stability, right? So it's always on, you get things done anytime you want to get it done. So when you look at people, what they offer is biological intelligence. That's how I would put it. So when a system fails, it doesn't take moral responsibility. It just stops. But people step in, own for the failure, and they respond to the crisis and ensure that situational resilience is established, right? That's the most important thing. Like when systems fail, we reach out to people because systems don't have emotion to respond to you, right? And also, like systems are programmed for known variables, whereas people are made for the unknown. And systems, you look at them, they just execution of instructions, and whereas people exercise judgment, right? So if I have to break it down further, what biological intelligence is contributing the resilience of people, I would bring in 3 dimensions, the traits, the perspective, and expertise. So when you're talking about traits, like be it curiosity or like judgment or reasoning, decision making, thoroughness, or the sense of urgency, this allows us to diagnose and act in any situation, right? So when you're talking about the elements of perspective, like be it intent, belief, your imagination, or like empathy and experience, this allows us to contextualize a crisis, right? And finally, when you are talking about expertise, the deep skills and competencies gained allows us to implement solutions, right? So hence, I say that resilience is a domain of people than systems. If you would ask me if we can surpass resilience, my answer would be yes. So if you add emotional intelligence and learning adaptability to resilience, you become anti-fragile. So when talent is anti-fragile, they produce more robust and resilient systems. That would be my submission.
Fantastic, thank you. Nelson, building on that, in that context, what skills are most critical during disruptions, and where do organizations see the biggest talent shortages?
Okay, good afternoon all. It's a wonderful event and a great question. So today, as per 2021 statistics, we are talking about 75 lakhs, 63,000 students passing out from various schools. It starts from your ITI, Polytechnic, Engineering College, Arts and Science, Management schools, and then the alternative MBA schools, alternative science schools. And we are saying that we are living in an agentic AI world. There is a news that the last GPT model was built by another AI, right? In this world, what would be the skills that will not be replaced or that will outlast every advancement that can happen? I would give 3. One is agency. Agency is all about getting the things done, using your communication, collaboration, networking skills. If there is an issue, if somebody has to get it done, instead of waiting for someone to give you the order, instead of waiting for someone to tell you what needs to be done, if we can pick up the threads and if we can start doing things, then it is agency. Let us assume there was a cyber attack happened in your organization and you have to work on it, and there will be 10 people discussing on that. Now what happened, what could be the root cause and all those things, and there will be one person who will say, okay, I will take it up, I will set up the call, I will set up the bridge, I will call this person, I will call someone from the OEM and get it done. That is agency. Okay, no AI, no agentic AI can replace this skill. Number 2, it's about having awareness about the cyber and the data, right? Today we live in a world, everything is on one or the other way digitally connected. So you need to know what are the systems that you are there. You do not need to be a technology person. You do not need to be an engineering graduate. You could be an MBA graduate. You could be an arts and science graduate. Still, if you know what are the cyber systems that are acting as a nurse inside the system, and then you should have the complete awareness of the data. Okay, whenever I say awareness of the data, understanding the data in terms of what they are doing, right? With the DPDPA coming into picture, 250 crores is the penalty people are talking about. Then whatever role you play, you are all expected to have that knowledge and the awareness and understanding of those systems, data points. The third skill is, again, no one can replace, no AI, no Claude, no Anthropic, no one can replace, that is authentic leadership. Authentic leadership is all about owning things and get the things done and give credit where it is due. Okay, even during turbulence time, even during circumstances that demand lots of pressure and put you in stress, if we can still stand to that and get the things done, get the things moving, then people will look up to you. You are not a person going to make up things. Then people will say, he is a person who is authentic leader. So it's all about agency, having awareness about your cyber and data, and being an authentic leader. These are the skills that would be definitely needed.
Fantastic, thank you. Now we'll move to gaps in current curriculum. Shankar, my question to you is, where do universities fall short in preparing students for resilient roles?
Sure. So I've been with the industry, but I've been working fairly close with the academia also. And I think it's part of the industry's responsibility also to bridge this gap, because at the end of the day, we want students who are more ready to take up very challenging problems and come up with innovative solutions. So we do something proactively by working with the universities. But the key gaps, if you see, is knowing versus doing. I'm sure they have very good teachers. They get to learn a lot in terms of the conceptual foundations. But when it comes to working on real-world problems, there is a lot of hesitation because they haven't done that in the past. So we have all gone through that phase when you have to do something for the very first time. I think what they need is more opportunities to practice with the real-world problems, possibly through summer internships, all those things that can definitely help. And the second gap is in terms of breadth versus depth. A lot of them come with a reasonable technical depth in their chosen domain. Say a mechanical engineer knows a reasonable amount of mechanical engineering, so fine. But today's industry needs a good amount of technical breadth also. For example, the kind of space we are in electric cars, electric mobility, we need mobility engineers who know mechanical, electrical, electronics, basic programming skills, a whole bunch of things. So that's how the needs of the industry have changed. So that's the second area, which is technical breadth. And the last and the final one is innovation and problem solving. I think that's common for all the engineering domains. And there again, definitely it can be addressed through working on projects. It can't be taught in the classroom. It has to be done through projects. I think if we address these three gaps, we'll be in very good shape. Sure.
That reminds me of the frameworks we used to speak about evolution of skills from an I shape to a T shape to a pie shape to a comb shape. Now we'll come to the academician on the panel. Further building on this, are resilience topics treated as optional rather than core in current curriculum?
Good afternoon all. In fact, I feel resilient talents, they need to have a high level of emotional intelligence and also the adaptability. So if I keep that in mind, I'll have to say it should be core. It's not optional. In fact, universities and industries need to think and focus on this, and it's core. In fact, some of the universities abroad, if you see University of Lisbon, they have a full-time program on resilience education, how to build the resilient talent. And of course, we also have some training program for soft skill development. So this has to be core. We all think it as core only. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Now we'll come to how do we embed continuity concepts as part of the design stage itself. So Ashok, how can business continuity and DR be integrated into mainstream courses? And DR applies to one's own life as much as it applies to institutions, right? So,
so if you have to truly integrate the DR and business continuity into student curriculum, I would like to move a little upstream, right? So if you look at DR and business continuity, they are action-oriented response frameworks that come out of, that emerge out of a architecture and design analysis, right? So we can't talk about business continuity and DR in isolation, right? So So if you have to integrate these two things into a curriculum, my suggestion would be to give a course on system architecture and design, so that people know the system architecture and design builds the DNA of any system. So when you are talking about the DNA of systems, we are talking about the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements. And business continuity and DR come into the architecture domains of operations and risk management. So one needs to understand the holistic system so that they can provide for what means the DR and business continuity should address. So it cannot be given as a separate subject. That's my take on it. And also, like, when you make a system architecture and design as a holistic approach, it helps the student to connect the why, what, and the how. The business risk, the non-functional requirement, and the execution plans. And also, like, when they do system architecture and design as a holistic subject, you are creating, helping students to architect systems rather than being just knowing of protocols. So that would be my submission.
Thank you. Nelson, in that context, should simulations be part of evaluation? Simulations should be part of curriculum in some ways. Should they form an integral part of evaluation? And how early should these topics be introduced?
Yeah, definitely we are talking about building a resilient talent. In such case, definitely this, I would put it this way, it is about immersion. We call that as industry immersion. The students have to come to the real world, real environment, work with real people who are solving problems or building solutions. Then they will get more knowledge than what they will learn from the other ways and means of learning. I want to quote what Carnegie Mellon told. Carnegie Mellon report says that anybody that go through the immersive learning, immersion-based learning in today's AI world will have 3x productivity than the normal learning. So we need to let the student.
As India leads the global AI conversation, CIFI empowers you to build, run, and govern AI at scale on its proprietary sovereign AI foundation to power a Atmanirbhar Bharat.
And the other question in terms of by when or how soon they should start, I would say that they should start from the first year, because the first year is a time they will have lots of energy and lots of enthusiasm. At the same time, first year is a time they have lots of apprehensions. They get into the new world, they come out of their school environment. Actually, they will kind of come out of their comfort zone. That time, if we give this opportunity for them to go around, be in an industry, whatever may be the industry, it could be on manufacturing or healthcare and life sciences, whatever it could be, if they can come, be with the people and start learning, right? It is like some kind of instant gratification, right? They are learning, but for them to put it to work, they need some environment. So let them do this, then I think they will be a highly skilled, talented, better resilient professionals that we are looking for.
Yeah, I mean, an important part of immersion is internship at organizations, and I think Partha, industry does a very poor job of internships. You onboard talent, it's a tick mark. Often senior leadership doesn't spend time with interns. They think they're too busy. But when senior leadership in companies spend time with interns, you design the program better, it benefits everybody. You inspire young talent. But I think the most significant outcome is you learn a lot from the talent. You learn things you never imagined. So I would urge you to spend time with industry, for senior leadership to get involved in internship programs and spend some time, if not all their time, with interns. Moving on to information security and privacy education, Partha, how should curricula reflect evolving data protection and security expectations?
Actually, if you ask me how, first of all, I would say that industry and the academic institutions both should come forward and both should be the integral part of this development of curricula. And also the data users, then only the professors will understand the real need. As for example, the curricular should take care of, say, concerns, threats, crisis management, and immediately to act on. So these kind of things should be there while evolving the curriculum. And in that case, the curriculum is will be different, not conventional. And there are some softwares for resilience training and also some tools. So curriculum should include those softwares and tools so that the students can get some practical experience for learning this, and this ultimately will make the students confident so that they can handle the situations, emergency situations in industry or wherever they work. So curricula will play a very important role for making the resilient talent, I feel, in my opinion.
Now we'll move to industrial collaboration. Nelson, my question is, what role should industry play in shaping academic syllabi, and is industry capable of it?
Okay, yeah. It's very clear that industry should not dictate curriculum to the academia, because they are the best to do that. They have all those competencies, ways and means to get it right, and they have lots of frameworks to get it done, and they are governed by various parameters as part of the state and central regulations. So we should not dictate, rather we should inform them about the relevance of the subjects. Today, when they come, okay, the college can have some syllabus, and then they teach about AI, they teach about machine learning, they teach about IoT, they teach about cyber security. However, only when they come to the industry, they will get to know what is that endpoint central solution does, right? What does a ransomware solution does? What does a DLP means, right? These all things you can't learn. You have to experience. For that, academia and industry should go hand in hand and construct the syllabus and keep that immersion module as part of the syllabus from the first year. That's point number one. Point number two, WF says that 44% of the core skills will anyway obsolete. So it is not that academia can go and update the syllabus every month. It is not practically possible. We need to have the balance in terms of what the academia can do and what the industry can do. And if we can come together and do
I vanish with signals. I vanish. Oh, but it took strings. I vanish like in picking picks at 3 a.m. Leave his body. Let the green flag enter. Bring me a man who loves me. Bring me a man who loves me.
I am a better man now.
Prove it.
I'm bewitched. And I'm all yours.
All green flags, gift Jiva.
I'm telling you that we will have a huge talent built and a huge resilient talent built in this country.
Ashok, my question to you in the same context is, how can industry contribute without turning academia into vendor training? And what forms of collaborations have the greatest impact?
So, the answer is yes and no. Like between academia and industry, it's a marriage of convenience, though. Like, see, where industry wants to jumpstart with talent and they end up turning academia into training institutions. But the purpose of academia is to rather create a very broad-based knowledge which is deep-seated that would benefit the industry. And the industry always, even though we get early talent from the academia, we still do an immersion so that they understand. Because what you read in books and how industry operates are two different things altogether. Coming to the point on how industry and academia can collaborate, I think internship is not an approach of scale that can solve the problem, because we know that the amount of people that are coming out of academia, we can't provide for the internship or the attention that is required. So my suggestion would be we should flip the table there, like where the faculty can come and do externship in the industry. That way they become the force multiplier, and that will be exponential. So they can come to, during the summer break, instead of students coming for internship, we would rather invite academia to the professors to come and do externship with the industry, take back that knowledge into the classroom, convert the classroom into a industry experience center kind of a thing. That's what would be a scalable solution. That's what I think we should be doing.
That's interesting. So Shankar, we'll now move on to experiential learning. My question is, why is hands-on exposure critical in the context of resilient skills?
Sure. Before that, I just wanted to add one point building on what Ashok said, internship for the faculty. We tried that. We called it mini sabbaticals, where it need not be a year long, but can be a month or two. And that worked really very well, because each faculty can reach out to 100, 200 students. So there was an inherent amplification factor. And it was twofold. One, it reflected in their teaching. Second, better quality research proposals, where there is a fundamental research component and also application component. So those proposals went through much easier way. So that was a very good experience. Now coming back to why it becomes very important to build the practice skills when it comes to industry relevance perspective. Fundamental understanding of the concepts is what primarily happens during the years we spend in the university. And many times it stops there, because not only the teaching but even the exams are oriented towards how well we have understood the concepts, the engineering concepts. But the next stage of designing something using those concepts is very important. That's what the industry starts with. It assumes that the person they hire, they're already good in concepts. They are very eager to see what can he or she design using those concepts. And the next level is, how do you implement the design? Is the design smart enough, robust enough to get easily implemented? And if you thought these two are difficult, the third one is even more difficult, which is operationalizing the whole thing, which is converting into something which makes money. So here we are looking at from concept to design, design to implementation, and implementation to operationalization. So the industry starts where the academia stops. So there is a very long journey. And if we can give some structure to this through the right interventions, we can greatly accelerate this. Otherwise, this may take a very long time, which was okay in the past. But now it's not okay, because technology itself is growing so fast. If you take a long time, technology will change, and what you know is no longer relevant. So that's why there is a lot of pressure on both the industry and academia to do it in a much faster way. Sure?
Sure. Partha, as a follow-up, how can universities simulate crisis scenarios safely but realistically, and what role should... Yeah, we spoke about internship in the other concept, but what role can internships continue to play?
This crisis management, we do many things. If I share with you the experience of our institution, what we do, we have this, we say, Center for the Disaster Mitigation, and also we have a Center for Health and Well-being Center. Basically, we have a team. They take care of the mental health of the students. So if any emergency situation, anything, the entire team works. And you'll be happy to know that we have a system called mentoring system for every teacher, 20 students. So all the mentors, the teachers, take care of their students, and it slowly and silently creating that environment for the students, all the crisis management in the campus. So these are some of the things, activities we have. And you mentioned that hands-on experience. And at the same time, I would like to say hands-on experience is very much required for students' resilience training. We do have activities in the campus for hands-on experience, like we have a system, fully flexible cadet system. In every semester, students are getting new teachers, new friends in the classroom, and new classrooms and new timing. And also, this is in hostels. In every semester, students are getting new rooms, new roommates, and multidisciplinary environment, interdisciplinary environment they work. So all these things are creating a cross-cultural activities. They're facing new challenges. Ultimately, these practices, before getting a degree, making them fit for facing the challenges in the industry or on board.
Thank you. Many of us wouldn't be aware there's so much design into that aspect.
Yeah, so many things we do in the campus.
Yeah. Nelson, now Partha spoke about learning in different environments. In a way, you are bringing interdisciplinary people together. So we'll stay with interdisciplinary learning now. So how can combining IT, risk and management education strengthen resilience talent?
Yeah. This is an interesting topic. I think Partha talked about so passionately about whatever they are doing. Our expectation from the industry is how do we scale that? Okay, how do we make it affordable to every student in the country? Because today the expectations are very, very different, right? One of them is the multidisciplinary, skills people need to have. In the IT world, we call that as a pod model. A pod is something where you have an engineering expert, a management expert, right? And then there is a domain expert. They all come together and deliver a work. Wherever you have this kind of setup, infrastructure, then the outcomes are definitely 10x, 20x, right? While we are talking about this IT, risk and the governance aspect, today's world, they are all like, the lines are kind of blurring out, graying out, right? Whether it was with the GDPR or now with the DPDP Act or with the job codes that we are talking about, all the things are making it, one thing very clear. Every one of us need to be clearly aware of the GRC framework. Okay, governance, risk, and compliance, right? The earlier panel people talked about, yeah, I can do ISO 27001, I can do ISO 40001 for the AI, but that is on the compliance side. We always talk about compliance versus commitment. Compliance is yes, getting all the certifications. Commitment is we live by that. Okay, so for that to happen, the interdisciplinary skills should be taught to the students at the college level. Okay, like the way Partha was telling, we have to make them to get exposed. Okay, what if a risk happened? What if now a financial exposure happened? What are you going to do? Okay, you will work with your legal team. You will work with your IT team. You will work with your board because DPDP expects certain kind of rules and regulations to be followed, a framework to be there, consent manager system should be there. The students should know what is a consent manager, who is the data fiduciary, who is the data processor. The moment they get them at the early stage of their career, I think they will build a very, very resilient and safe country for all of us.
Absolutely, and when you speak about different disciplines, one of the things I keep telling our IT leadership team is that you should talk technical to your team, talk application to the rest of the organization, right? And the other, Suresh must be somewhere here. So 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, when Suresh and I met each other for the first time, He asked me what is my one-line mandate, and you know Suresh is very brief with words. So I said your mandate internally is that today IT is the port of last call to fix problems. I want IT to be the port of first call to co-create solutions. If we make that transition, it's good. Ashok, I'll come to you now, building on the previous question. How can business, legal, and technical departments collaborate in curriculum design? And what barriers prevent interdisciplinary teaching in universities today? You could take either of them or both the questions.
Navneet, you know, like I don't come from the academia, but I can always give you the industry perspective on it since I'm a director of learning at Intellect. See, like in corporate, it's a given. Like when you give a problem, it's owned by everyone. It's not a siloed thing somebody is working on. So interdisciplinary or cross-functional collaboration is a given. We never have constraints around that. And any course that I offer through my academy has to be vetted by business. Without business vetting it, I have no chance of launching that course at all. So that's how within the industry we operate. We don't have any kind of Chinese wall kind of a thing. Like it's not a crime to collaborate. And we have been living in a connected world, and collaboration is a given. That's the mindset and the perspective that industry is operating. Coming to your interdisciplinary question, I think I'll look at healthcare for this example. Like earlier on, many years ago, being a GP was very glorified, right? Today, if you see, like you have to do a master's, then you go on to do a super specialization. From there, you go on to do an hyper specialization. It's getting too narrowed down in terms of speciality. And people want to stand out, and only speciality will help them to stand out. Probably that is the reason, like even in academy, I think like people are moving to hyper specialization. Probably they want to be standing out and probably have too much depth in that particular area. To me, I think that may be seen as a constraint. Because you look at my own story, you look at my career, I could say there is not a role that I have not done in IT, right? The only role I have not done in IT was I have not been a field sales guy. But I have done that in a non-IT environment. But I have always taken roles. I started as a programmer, then moved on to project management, program management, then moved into technical architecture, solution architecture, enterprise architecture. I went on to head R&D. Then I was head of configuration management, the custodian of all IPs of Intellect. Then suddenly I thought I want to go and share this knowledge with everyone. Then I moved to L&D. It was a move, I had chosen to move down. So there is no constraints. Industry wants mobility. We all tell our associates, be mobile. Don't stick to one single thing. You just go explore. So that's why we have a career lattice. So you can move wherever you want to. Right? So probably like there should be some incentive to do that in academia, I think. Because in the industry, when you do such movements, your remuneration or the so-called CTC is not getting affected. Your designation is not affected. Wherever I move, I still remain the vice president, right? So probably that's some kind of learning that I can give to academia from industry. Yeah.
Sure. Nagraj in his previous session had one final question to all the panelists, and it was you had to say something in one sentence. And so I was promising my panelists I won't surprise them, but I might ask a question to all of you at the end of our conversation is, in one or two lines, how do you build resilience into your professional careers? What do you do individually to ensure you are resilient? Is a question I will come back to later. But right now, we'll speak about building long-term talent pipelines. Shankar, my question is, how can academia create sustainable, resilient career paths?
Sure. I think it's very important for us to kind of reinvent ourselves periodically. And in my case, it was like every 7-8 years, I used to learn something new and get onto a new role. But now that 7 years has become like 3 years and 4 years now. And so when there is such a need for us all professionals to learn something new and get into a new role, maybe sometimes you have to create the role. It may not readily exist in the organization. When all that happens, of course, the first place I would look for help to do that is my alma mater. Wherever I studied, I would like to go back there and take some help because I know who are the experts. And I'm also very comfortable going there. And also kind of psychologically, it will take me to my learning days. So I will be more receptive, more absorbing in that mode, in that place. So it's always a nice thing for me to go back. I studied at IIC Bangalore and IIM Bangalore. So I'd always prefer going back there to learn something new. I think this is a great opportunity for all the universities to stay connected with all their students, even after 10, 20 years or 30 years in the career. So they always feel comfortable to come back and learn something new. And sometimes they can be students, sometimes they can also be teachers. They can come and teach a small course which is application of something where the professor is already teaching all the concepts. They just come like a professor of practice and just teach what the industry is doing in that space. So it can be both ways. So I think that will greatly help all of us to stay very updated. Yeah.
Fantastic. Partha, in the same line of thinking, how can institutes encourage students to view resilience as a career path? And what role do public-private partnerships play in the talent pipeline development?
First of all, that encouragement is very much required. So institutions, they can do in many things, in many ways. One thing is that the way we do, creating the opportunities, facilities for the students, creating the maker space, creation lab, innovation lab, where we are giving them challenging tasks. And creating a challenging environment is extremely important. But how to make it happen? As for example, say, giving them challenging experiment, challenging assignment, challenging questions, challenging assessment. So by giving all these things and following up, a challenging environment has to be created in the campus. So slowly then the students, if they work on these things, and over a period of time, you will see that they are ready and they will be able to build a sustainable career growth for themselves. So this is what exactly we have been doing in our campus.
Fantastic. Thank you. Now we'll shift gears to the future of resilient skills. Shankar, my question is, what new competences will define resilient professionals in the medium and long term?
Sure. One skill that will become super important is what we call as learnability, the ability to quickly learn something totally new, which we have never done in the past. And nobody teaches us how to do that. We always struggle with that. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But if somebody can go a little deeper and teach us how to get into any new space and learn quickly, I think that will be a very important skill. And the second is collaboration. How can I communicate effectively with people from other domains and have shared goals and collaborate in a very meaningful way? I think that will also greatly accelerate whatever we are trying to do. The third is, of course, innovation, which cuts across all the domains. Whichever domain I could be, how to come up with fresh perspectives, how to come up with totally new ideas, and take them all the way from the lab to the market. These are skills I think will help us to always stay a little ahead of the curve. And these are not going to change. New domains may come, new skills you may need, but these three, which is ability to learn, ability to collaborate, and ability to innovate, I think these three will continue to remain most relevant all through. Sure.
Thank you. Now I'll come back to, in a few lines, if each of you could share, how do you build resilience to be a better professional, and how do you practice resilience in your professional life? We'll start with Ashok and go down the table.
So probably I'll tell how I built resilience within myself. Staying relevant is one of the most important thing. Like in the information age, there is no dearth for knowledge. Knowledge has become very pervasive. Like so, that, in fact, technology has democratized knowledge. So everybody has the same kind of access to everything. So what I have done is I have chosen problems where others would not fear to go. So that way I have stayed relevant and visible in whatever I did.
Highest level of self-awareness will help building a resilient professional. When I say self-awareness, it is not just about us. It's about the industry you are in, about the company you are working for, and the society surrounding you. Because other skills Shankar has already told, and then Ashok also told. If you have this, and then you will be very successful. And another one of the important traits, I would say, being a good integrator. Okay, a person who can work with different circumstances, challenging situations, sometimes challenging people as well, because end of the day you have to deal with people. Even if the AI makes some mistake, we will be held responsible. Someone should be there as an integrator. If these two skills are there, I think we will be able to build a very resilient kind of talent around us.
Yeah, I will tell about an academic campus. The leaders, academic leaders need to think, first of all, they need to think that this is required, these activities are required, and need to implement it in teaching, learning, research, and innovation. So think and implement. That's what, and just thinking it won't help. Without thinking you can't implement. So both are required.
Sure. We talked about the importance of immersing ourselves in a industry or a domain which we want to master. I want to look at immersion in a slightly different way. Immersing in our own self, where we'll be able to figure out what are our true innate strengths and where our passion really lies. I think we get distracted by so many things. We get very less time with ourselves to go a little deep and figure out what is the sweet spot, what is my sweet spot where I can be super effective. And I found Stanford University does this in a very beautiful way. For the master students, the first 2 weeks is a program called Design Your Life, where life is looked at like a product which you can design yourself, where slowly you converge towards what you are best at and what you are truly passionate about. I think immersing in ourselves periodically, I think is very important going forward for us. That will be the source of all my energy, learning power, everything that I need to stay.
And fantastic, and to be fair, it's easy to ask people questions. I'll have a stab at this. One of the things I do to help build resilience is honestly agree to moderate panel discussions like this. I'm not a subject matter expert, and I'm speaking to people at the top of their game. It helps me understand the subject, prepare, and I respect your time as much as I respect the audience's time. So it helps me prepare, learn new things, ask the right questions, seek the right answers, and try and add value to all of you and to the audience. That's one of the things I do, and that's helped me. We have some time for a few audience questions, and if somebody has a question, yeah. Please go ahead. Please state your question, and also let us know whom it's addressed to.
Okay, so my question is to Dr. Shankar Venugopal. We had a lot of interesting ideas about internships, externships, and so on. Now I'm thinking about industry professionals like building or upskilling themselves. In the US and Japan and South Korea, we know that industry professionals win Nobel Prizes, whereas in that culture is yet to come to India. So how do we upskill industry professionals to think about winning Nobel Prizes? Because they have access to infinite resources.
Absolutely. True. I think that's where industry-academia collaboration comes in a big way, because industry professionals are mostly focused on developing applications of fairly mature science and sometimes developing a new technology out of a mature science. But many times a Nobel Prize is for a new discovery, which means something new in science itself, which can happen only through industry expert and an academic expert coming together, collaborating, so that the academician can do the fundamental research and the industry expert can do the application development of that. But together they'll be able to do a great job, which is the deep science and deep tech space. These are problems which need to be solved urgently, but there is no ready solution. Solution can come only through very deep research, which takes a significant amount of time. So that way this will solve two problems when the industry and academia come together. Deep science and deep tech solutions will arise, and some of them may even become eligible for a Nobel Prize. I think this is a very good question, and this is a strong driver for the collaboration. Sure.
But what about people outside academia who want to be part of industry research, but not as an employee, but as a consultant?
That's very much possible, surely.
What pathway is there for them? Because the interview pathway is, in a sense, ridiculous. So, is it through like people you already know, or do you have, let's say, some objective metric or an open form or a competition that we can? I think it'll be helpful if you organize some competitions for private consultants to come in.
Sure. That's a very good idea. Definitely, I'll take that. Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Any other questions? Yeah. Please go ahead.
This is for Mr. Partha, Dr. Partha. So I was just thinking when you were talking about running an institution, right? So will it be really helpful if we have a simulation, let's say a simulation that can actually help a computer science graduate? He or she has just joined college, and I think there are orientation programs, there are seminars and workshops, but is there an orientation program which actually tells them what is going to happen in the first year, second year, third year and fourth year, and along with industry collaborations and academia that happens? I don't think, because Sir just said that Harvard has something closer, but I think, do you think that will help the students see their future in terms of job prospects and what to do next when they join a college?
Yeah, thank you. Actually, orientation program in every year or every semester, what is definitely help. And another thing I would like to mention here, that collaboration with industries is not just for placement or internship. Industry should be the integral part of the growth of the institution, of any good institution. So without industry, we should not do the things. As for example, they should be the part of our syllabi and curriculum development, and they will, in fact, in VIT, one module has to be taught by the industry experts, so that students can learn the practical things from the industry experts. So doing research together, doing consultancy together, solving a student's problem together, and hackathon to do jointly, and makeathon, so all these things, and orientation program you mentioned, so it really helped the students for their career growth and even for getting a good job. Yeah.
Any other questions for the panel? Yes, the gentleman there, please. Yeah. Could somebody, after you, please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Of course, this is a question to the Vice Chancellor. Is innovation part of the syllabus for the students, in colleges? One. Then secondly, about the internship scheme of the government, we learned that there are no takers. Possibly, maybe must be mainly because, the incentive given is not sufficient. You can comment on that also.
The first question, it should be. Innovation should be the part and parcel of our syllabi. And many institutions, different institutions, they do in different way. Some institutions, they have some credits for innovation, entrepreneurship, and other. Even some institutions, I see that 1 year they make the students free for entrepreneurship. Similar kind of programs we have. We do have program and also some subjects for entrepreneurship, and we do have a lot of practical experiences students they get from the syllabi curriculum we developed. And as I mentioned, we have maker space and separate creation lab for the students. So this is some of the value-added courses we have for innovation. So entire campus, not only VIT, I believe any good institution, the campus should be a strong and vibrant innovation ecosystem has to be built. Startup ecosystem, IP development ecosystem, and finally overall the innovation ecosystem. It is must for upcoming days, because we are planning for 2047 Atmanirbhar Bharat. So if we really want to do that, this creating an innovation ecosystem in the campus, vibrant innovation ecosystem, is very, very important.
Thank you. We'll take one final question from the gentleman there. Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Myself, Saravanan. Just a question for Dr. Shankar. Sir, you told you'll be training the faculties and also being alumni for the institution, bringing back the industrial experience to the students, right? Why can't we adopt institutes or the tier 2 institutes nearby your industry or any industry, so that we will people will get the better exposure and also the industrial experience. So one way you are bringing the tier 2, tier 3 institute students or the young talents to the outer world to meet the competition, and another way you will also bringing up the upskilling of the new talents.
Absolutely. I think that's a good idea. We do this through an initiative called FLAME, which is Future Leaders in Automotive and Manufacturing Engineering, where we work closely with the engineering colleges across, and it's a two-way relationship. They support us in certain new emerging technology areas where we can learn from them, and we support them whenever they have ideas which they want to scale up and further get into products, and it's a both way. But we have monthly interactions to exchange this knowledge and have various events and competitions and also small projects. A whole bunch of things happens all through the year. But a lot more can be done. Having said that, it's a very small effort what we are doing, but I'm sure for a country like India, we can do a lot more of this, which should help both sides. Both the industry and academia will greatly benefit when this happens. We have started in a small way, but we can discuss more about it, sure.
Ashok Nelson, do you want to weigh in on this question, add your thoughts?
Probably like, if you look at the reality out there, industry itself uses a lot of open source, right? So everybody has access to open source. What I would recommend for people in academia is to champion the cause of contributing to open source. They can own, they can ask students to, so that they get the real life experience of solving real world problems. I think that would be very fantastic if academia can champion and be part of the open source community.
Yeah. One last point just to add to what Partha said. I think lots of innovation contests and hackathons and incubation centers for opening, all those things happen. But you can also look at this. An industry, any IT services company or a product or platform company, what they do is they go and ask their customers to give the problem statements, the use cases, and they have the contest for those use cases. It is like not giving a generic thing, right? It is like a particular problem statement, and if the students can come up with an innovative solution, they take it to the market. So when you do that, I think whatever we discussed here, all will come into one alignment, saying that, okay, the industry immersion experience and then whatever they learned, now solving some customer problem will put all those things together, like connecting the dots and stitching it together. That's my view.
Thank you. Thank you. You have been a lovely audience, and all of you have been a lovely panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And can we have a big hand for all of our panelists? Can we get a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've now come to our last panel discussion of the day. Continuing on in the same vein, data security and privacy in the age of AI, balancing innovation and compliance. AI may be accelerating innovation, but without governance, it risks eroding trust and resilience. This session we have coming up next explores how organizations can embed privacy, transparency, and security across the AI lifecycle, ensuring that innovation is not just fast, but responsible, auditable, and resilient by design. I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Dheeraj Janbandhu, Senior Group Vice President IT, Digital Business Indian Bank. A result-driven banking and technology leader with over 3 decades of experience, he leads nationwide digital initiatives and large-scale IT modernization. With deep expertise in digital banking and financial inclusion, he has earned multiple industry awards for technology and inclusion excellence. Welcome, sir. Next, I'd like to welcome on stage Mr. Vijayanand Chidambaram, Gen AI Data Analytics Leader, Amazon. A technology innovator with over 20 years of experience, he leads breakthrough Gen AI analytics initiatives at Amazon. With multiple patents and global innovation awards, he has built industry-leading AI solutions that have delivered national-scale impact. Welcome. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. V.S. Kanchana Bhaskaran, Vice Chancellor, Vellore Institute of Technology. A highly respected academic leader with over 4 decades of experience across industry, teaching, and research. She is a specialist in VLSI design and microprocessor architectures. With extensive publications, patents, and leadership roles at VIT, she continues to shape technology-driven higher education in India. Welcome, Doctor. This session will be moderated by Mr. Srinivasalu Thayam, Chief Technology Officer, Aravind Eye Care System. Also a seasoned technology leader with over 27 years of global experience, he drives digital transformation and technology adoption to enhance patient care and operational excellence. Welcome to all of our panelists and our moderator. Mr. Srinivasalu, I hand over this session to you.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. So we come to the last session of Tech Summit called themed on continuity unbroken. I could see the continuity without building the architecture of resilience and in connected world. Actually, it is it's fitting the that our final conversation on focusing on to determine the digital resiliency, it's going to be succeeded or collapsed with the trust, actually. That's what. So I'm very honored to moderate this session on digital security and privacy in the age of AI with a combination of innovation, balancing the innovation and compliance. And I just wanted to reiterate that this is no more technology, this is a boardroom strategy, okay? This is going to be a boardroom strategy going forward, okay? So you all know that, right? By the way, I'm Srini, CTO of Aravind Eye Care System. It's a chain of eye hospitals, predominantly this part of the world. I mean, we are also like world's largest eye care system, where we see 20,000 patients in a day. Okay. So most importantly, you might have gone through all sessions. By this time, you would have realized AI has been moved from pilot programs to its enterprise mandate. Okay, it's no more pilot and POCs actually. It has been moved to enterprise mandate, and of course, it is shaping particularly from the healthcare. It is shaping the diagnostics. It is shaping the prediction. It is shaping the supply chain. It is shaping the fraud detection. It is shaping the personalization and underwriting process, particularly in the insurance domain, and making decision by itself. So that's where today it has been kind of let me put it like this: across industry, this has been clearly directive as adopt AI, scale AI, compete with the AI. That's very clear. You have to adapt, scale, and compete with the AI. Okay. So that's the situation we are now. Having said all these things, in this hall, we all know, every CXO knows other side of the reality. Okay, so I mean, like even though like we say it's like adopt AI, so that's other side of the reality is where the data is today. Data is fueling the intelligence. While data is fueling the intelligence, it also increasing the attack surface, right? And while increasing the automation, which multiplies the efficiency, it also increases the accountability exposure. Okay, and also like the personalization, where it delays the customer, it also intensifies the privacy risk. This is the flip side of this transformation. Okay, so I hope you all are aware of that. So I mean, my way is we are no longer no longer managing the data risk. We are manage AI accelerated data risk. Okay, it's AI accelerated data risk. That's what we are now actually. So I mean, let me put it like we are in the era of data as an infrastructure, right? Algorithms are decision makers. Okay, our regulations are catching up, and cyber threats are advancing than the compliance framework. Okay, so I mean that's where like which kind of creates the central tension of the discussion going to be. Okay, on top of that we are going to discuss about the innovation and compliance. It's a contrary, right? In innovation and compliance, while innovation is pushing you to do more AI relay insights, where compliance is pulling you to focus on the data localization, right? While innovation is pushing you to do the predictive analysis, where compliance is pulling you to focus on the consent management. And while innovation is pushing you to do more interoperability, that's particularly in the medical industry, whereas your compliance is pulling you to focus on more encryption mandate, right? And of course, the same thing in automation. Innovation is pushing you to bring more automation, whereas your compliance is pulling you to do the more audit trails. So, I mean, this is something very challenging, right? So, for me, what I see, the real question for the leaders here, fundamentally, if you put all these things, who really owns the data? Who controls the model's training? Okay, is the data anonymization is efficient? Is it sufficient? And most importantly, is the synthetic data sets or the future implementation of AI? Okay, so that's the thing what we need to kind of debate and discuss. But I just wanted to one distinction: the de-identified data does not mean anonymized data. Okay, the re-identification of the data is no more hypothesis, it is a practical reality. Okay, so with this context, let me bring my panel session. We have a wonderful speakers here. We have wonderful, panelists, I think with very rich experience. The way I wanted to structure this, so, first I would like to, panelists to, introduce themselves, introduce by themselves and talk about what kind of initiatives you have done in terms of the data security and the, protecting the privacy. So then we can focus about more on the governance. Finally, we can talk about, what is the CXOs in this hall, to take for, whatever the takeaways for the next 6 to 9 months plan. Okay, so that's why I wanted to I would like to start with, sorry, I think my speaker. So I would like to start with Dr. Kanchana Bhaskaran. And I have a very high regards on ma'am. I met a couple of times. She comes up with a huge experience. I think, I don't know how many of you know, she has 147 international journals on her name. And she has 3 patents on her name with the 4 decades of experience. I think it's for all of us, let's give a big round of applause to be part of this initiative. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks for being part of this.
Thank you. Having publications is actually on current days, it's nothing. We have got to have that many products, that many productization and getting into the market. That is more important, what we need for the country. Yes. I am Kanchana Bhaskaran, Vice Chancellor of VIT Vellore and the Chennai campus, of course. We have around 80 programs. And as the Vice Chancellor, this year, we have got a new curriculum made. And in the new curriculum, taking into account what the industry needs, we, as a deemed to be university, we have the privilege of offering new programs and all. And the programs based on the industry requirements, every 4 years we go for the curriculum revision. In that sense, this time also there are several multidisciplinary programs, and we have actually 17 schools and where different disciplines are offered, and 11 research centers and some centers of excellences also. Across the schools, we offer courses for the students on multidisciplinary, transdisciplinary basis also, and the students have the privilege of going for a minor program. If he is a mechanical engineering, he could go for AI and robotics, offered by multidisciplinary faculty from computer science and engineering, electronics and electrical and all. And this way, minors and honors, they enable the students to learn well. And we invite the student, the industries, to work with the students even when they are in the curriculum, during their curriculum years. During the 4 years, for certain labs, we get the industry problems for solutions, and we want to extend that even with a complete 1-year internship. Some of the students go, if they complete their credits and all by 3rd year, they go for the 4th year internship. It's a 1-year internship. So a lot of things are opening. As Pro-Vice Chancellor said, we have got to make a space allotted in all the schools, wherever the schools can, the students can work, even beyond working hours and all. As a multidisciplinary team, they work, and they make several products and all. They go for competition to NASA, and they win. The Hyperloop project recently, what was announced in IIT Madras, out of 13 awards, Vellore students got 6 and Chennai students got 3. So this sort of work, the work culture is there. The students are very good. They come through entrance examinations. The students are very bright. And we have around 3,000 faculty across the 2 campuses and 70,000 students. And with the resource what we have available, we can actually bring out the excellent atmosphere what is needed for the industry. And with the AI interruption what Sir said about, the particularly at VIT, we have, I should tell you, around 1,100 odd high-end stations with the GP, that is GP-enabled workstations are available for the students to work, for the UG, PG and research scholars and all. And some of the laboratories, we leave it open for 24/7. also, and accessible from home also or from hostel when they want to work. So these sort of facilities are there. The students take the problems and work with any faculty from any other school or from research center, and they go for doing internship with the research center faculty, and throughout the semester and through the vacation also they can stay back in the campus and they can do research and they can do productization and they work in the laboratories and in the maker spaces what we have and the centers of centers of excellences what we have. Therefore several opportunities are there for the students, and the faculty members are doing excellently well with the multidisciplinary capability. Thank you for this opportunity.
Ma'am, just wanted to check with you, probably I'll come back to you in the next round. So, Mr. Vijay Anand, can you introduce yourself and talk about kind of initiative from the data security and privacy in EA?
Thank you. I am Vijay Anand. Currently, I lead one of the data analytics AI product at Amazon Retail. And I have also been working as COVID data analyst during the COVID time, where I helped millions of people understanding the COVID trends. So data is more part of my passion. So just to giving the introduction of myself. Okay. Talking about how AI is going to enable data, right? So today everyone are using ChatGPT or Gemini, right? So these are all like general purpose AI apps, right? So you can just ask, give me a travel plan, and then it's going to give you. But how do you take AI to an enterprise and make it successful, right? So that is the biggest challenge, and also comply with laws and local laws as well as international GDPR compliant, right? So it's a journey for me as well as everyone in the organization. How do you take it from there, right? To start with, there are multiple layers in this AI journey, right? To start with, the basement is you need to have the data that is curated for Gen AI, right? So a lot of organizations are rushing to make Gen AI to be, or AI to be part of their everyday use cases, right? But will it going to work? And that's when there is a lot of publication happened, researches happened, surveys happened where 90% of the AI projects fails due to lack of understanding of AI, right? So there is a multiple layer of maturity to make a successful AI project, right? So first layer would be how do you make the data ready for AI? Is it your data ready for AI? That question need to be answered. Then second is once the data is ready, do you have a compliance mechanism? Do you have a mechanism to protect what AI can see, what AI should not see? Is that control layer built? Third layer is do you have the interconnections of all the departments? So you have a sales department, we have an ordering department, you have a support department, right? So if you're going to build an enterprise AI system, everything cannot be in a silos, right? Sales cannot build a chatbot only for sales, and customer support cannot build a chatbot. See, that's what's happening currently. So this AI is a race where everything is happening in a silos. So there is no central network or a knowledge base or a knowledge context graph which understands the entire landscape of an organization, and then apply AI on top of it. So, and then how you going to apply policies? There will be a lot of company policies, right, on top of this. That will be the fourth layer. And then fifth layer is when you're going to do the productionization, and you have to scale this for the customers, and then make it as product. So making a general purpose AI like ChatGPT is pretty, meaning it's already, problem is already solved. But making successful in an enterprise is a journey that's what currently every organization going through, and then we have successfully did one of the program as well.
Thank you. Next, Dheeraj, from your side.
Good evening to all. First of all, I am very thankful for the Hindu who is organized this theme, Continuity Unbroken. Every year I have seen that new themes, the Hindu is pioneer in bringing the new technology, new initiatives, and the new processes, what are there in the industry or the markets, and giving the insight to the audience on people. I am also very proud of associated with the CIO Club as a member, who is the knowledge partner for this event. I am Dheeraj. I am working with Indian Bank Corporate Office for Digital Banking and Digital Adoption Department. We will focus, as Shini told, we'll focus my discussion along with data security and privacy, and what are the models, how it can be done, how organization can make a balance between innovation and compliance and regulation, because that is the thin line. But mind it, the regulators and compliance is there to go ahead forward. It stops us from doing nothing out of the channel. It protects us from some of the things which we cannot think of. So regulators and compliance is very much important, and it cannot be a bottleneck. It can be the only enabler. That's what I want to say as of now. Now, Shini, it's your turn now.
Thank you. Ma'am, coming back to the core part of the program, so, I mean, this is something appropriate to ask you, like, do you see any risks using the third-party, AI tools, platforms, which is being well used in education? Do you see kind of a risk?
Correct. Actually, we do use third-party AI tools. For the education today, the AI tools they are to be treated as tools, not as everything. It cannot substitute teacher. The teacher and the student, they can go for using the AI as a tool. But while using the tool, we have got to be very careful with respect to the data privacy, mainly pertaining to the faculty and pertaining to what we have related to the students. For the students, even if we take academics, right from the examination data, right from their admissions data, everything would be there. But giving away all the data to the third party and where he is going to be keeping, what is his security arrangements, what he has, because we deal with the third party AI tool as a black box. We don't know anything about it. And we just feed our data to that. And whether our data, our student data, or our institutional data is going to be used as some training material for some other purposes, we won't know. And for that matter, he can actually go for having some copyrights which are actually known only to him, and that may not be related to what an institution needs. We need to have certain regulatory practices, constraints and all followed. As an institution, we are committed. As an institution, we are accountable to the students' privacy and all that. But we still want the education to run well and the research to run well. And we have got to use the AI tool. So there lies the boundary, which sort of tools. That is why what you said about anonymization or pseudonymization, they are going to be very important as far as our data, what we share with the third-party tools, that goes. And particularly federated learning and all, they are to be important also. The data, what we give for the third party, should be going out of our campuses, and that should be saved, stored and processed, and results and all coming out only from those locations. And that sort of like AGI. So that sort of thing is actually we practice. And for all these to be monitored, we have got the committees, and mainly for the privacy and whether the tools, even before we go for working with the AI, third-party AI tools, we audit. We audit their external arrangements and all, the security arrangements, what they have, and how they would use our data. And with consent, whether they go for taking, and the privilege to the student to go for opting out of if he doesn't want to have the data processed, and even for the faculty also. So all those privacy constraints, we actually very meticulously have got to follow, any university for that matter. With the huge data set what are available, with the huge data, which actually the data would give him a lot of input to process, lot of facilities to go for training their models and all. So we have got to be careful, but at the same time, we have to have our students, our faculty, our administrators, staff and all be knowing about everything, and they are actually periodically given with exposure, training, and sort of sessions in which they come to know about it, because it is important. It is here to stay. But all the same, we have got to have the privacy also taken care of. So right from administration level, right up to the student level, we have got this, and different levels of security data also is there. Whether it is going to be a low risk data or very high risk data like examinations. So those things also, that we have different levels. So based on that, the committees what we have, they take care of that. But we do use them.
I think, the takeaways from, I think you made it very clear. That's why V8 has been so successful. You mentioned a point like accountability, and you set the boundaries. I think these two are very critical in terms of the data security perspective. So that is the most underlining part. So coming back to the same accountability, Mr. Vijay, you're coming from Amazon, I think you will be the right person to, give a gyan on this. I mean, today, there's a lot of external APIs in the foundation models. I mean, this is going left and right across. So, I mean, the question is, from cloud provider perspective, what kind of risks we're going to come across? That's one question. Other, also AI adoption in the cloud platform. So if you can help us to know these two areas, it will be really good.
Sure, great. That's a great question. So currently there are two waves of integrating your system to AI, right? So there are, AI is kind of like you have machine learning models, and then now everything has become large language models, right? So there are two different waves of how you AI operate. So if you talk about LLMs, large language models, like you have OpenAI, right, and then you have Anthropic, and then there are multiple DeepSeek is there, and then there are hundreds of models are there, right? So to make your enterprise safe, you need to go with some cloud providers like AWS. AWS provides something called Bedrock. So what the cloud providers are doing is they are providing this as a service, right? So they have a tie-up with the OpenAI or or Anthropic. So what happens is the model that has been trained has a copy over the cloud, and then you can create your own virtual private cloud. We call it a VPC. And then you can have that instance connected with your app in your enterprises. So this way, you don't have a risk of exposing your data to external. So there are multiple tools, right? You can have a ChatGPT and then send your data to summarize it, or you can build your own app within your organization, connect it with Bedrock, or so there are two ways of looking at it. If you do not want data to go out of your organization, then you have to create a virtual private cloud and have this service providers instance, like you have Claude 4.6, 4.5. So all kind of latest models are available in the cloud that has a guardrail on enterprise security, that you can be compliant over that. And so that's the one way of protecting your system. Another way is you can build your own ML models, machine learning models, and host it in infra that is provided in the cloud, or it can be in on-premise also. So that way, data also doesn't go outside of internet, right? So see, there are facilities available right now to protect enterprise-grade security.
I think if I summarize, if you wanted to have your own ML model in your own premises. Otherwise, if you are going for an enterprise, then you have a virtual private cloud which will secure from the large level.
That's correct.
I think that's a well summarized. Thank you, Vijay. Now, coming back to, I think this is something very relevant, from the banking industry. You're coming from the banking industry, Mr. Dheeraj. Okay. Do you believe, the most of the organizations are really AI ready? Okay, from the data governance perspective, or are we building very shaky foundation? I know banking is still not there to kind of adapt, but I think you will be the right person to say that actually.
Yes, thank you for that question. But really speaking, my frank opinion means many organizations are building the AI models on shaky foundations. Because data is very important when we are going to implement AI modules. Data is vast, data is required. The data should be consistent, accurate, and protected from any thefts and breaches. So that is the very important aspect of data governance. Here I come with data governance frameworks. So organizations which are having good data governance frameworks will definitely have an advantage on going to deeper in AI modules. The researchers shows that only 8 to 9% organizations are AI ready. Their data is AI ready. So they can go ahead. Rest of the organization has to delve how my data can be best utilized for various AI models, and that is a challenge. That is really a challenge, but that can be solved if they put this data governance framework in that organization. And I will say the designing should be like it is a privacy by design. It should not be any type of a checkbox method that it is done. So when you adopt a privacy by design, your data is automatically protected. And that is the basic need for protecting your data, embedding your data, and giving a security to the people or those who are using. Because AI is a very vast space and models are evolving. So without exploring that models and how it does it, what type of functionality it does behind the black box, we are not aware. Even customers are not aware. It's very difficult for customers to know where is my data. Regulators are not keeping up what happens with the data. So a lot of challenges, and that the challenges comes with compliance risk and bias risk and malicious data and all other things. So that is a very challenge, and innovation I will talk later how it can take up in this space.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Since Dheeraj was touching upon the data sets, like I wanted to take this with Vijay. There is a kind of I used to hear this quite frequently. Organizations are building AI-based HRA system to remove the biasing. Okay, so this will make unbiased system. But what happens? Your HRA system over the period of becomes biased because the system has been trained by the data which was biased data. Okay, so that's the risk of the So with respect to that one, what I wanted to understand how the organization should govern the security and integrity of the data sets. If you can help us to know, that'll be good.
Sure. That's a great question that I think every organization are facing right now. So let's assume how do you explain an AI model giving let's assume it's an underwriting model, right? How do you make sure that it's not biased by gender or age or profession, right? So how are you going to do that? So that is going to be very critical, and explainability of the AI is also another critical part. So to do that, you'll have to not only build a model to give an example like underwriting, you give a credit score for a customer, right? You will have to clearly have a explainability model which is going to tell you what all the different attributes that is driving the results, right? It could be a regression model, or it could be a binary tree, or it could be what is the a rule that is going to be used, right? So all this kind of has to be logged in a system, right? And then you will have to have an evaluation agent. Now it's become agentic, right? So that should be another evaluator which is going to check periodically if the model is getting biased or not. So that should be an evaluation framework to be built along with the model that is going to give you the predictions, right? So these two models has to be trained in such a way that one is governing the other one, right? So that kind of now it's like AI versus AI. So I think that is where we are going towards. One AI is going to predict and one AI is going to govern. So you'll have to have, so we also have something called a as a judge, right? It's going to judge that what the decision made by another A is right or wrong. So these are all the systems that is evolving. We are not there yet, but we are evolving, but this has to be part of every organization.
Okay. I think one of the, I can share my own experience in our hospital, what we did for the diabetic retinopathy, once we finalized the model, what we did, we implemented this model, but we did not inform the doctors. So what we did, we have taken the, outcomes of the doctors for 6 months, and this model was running. We compared both the results, and we realized the model results was better than the doctors. So then we kind of implemented production, and we informed the doctor that, now model is running. So that's something, one of the way we did that actually. Yeah, thank you. So ma'am, coming back to you, another core part is more on the research and complaints perspective, So typically how the universities, kind of use a responsibility while encouraging the innovation and research actually. So this is something, double-edged sword actually. So, so how do you do that actually?
Yeah, A research is very important, and for that matter, we cannot go for losing anything at all. Therefore, this is what we do actually. 2 of the 4 laboratories, 2 in each school. We have got 4 laboratories completely isolated, and that is, their network is isolated, and they work for cyber security and all. And they work for this sort of work. And the responsible AI, the research scholars, the faculty who are working with, they should be keeping up with what is happening elsewhere, what is the recent evolution in the technology. With respect to that, how they should actually go for mending their ways and go for forward with the research. For enabling that, we are always alert. There is actually a group of people who work with identifying what is the evolution taking on and how that should reflect in the curriculum and in the research practices and all. Based on that, the student researchers are allowed to work in such laboratories, and they are given with excellent research facilities across the schools, interconnected. If my one system is not sufficient, we would give them a cluster of systems. With that, they would be able to work. Therefore, the responsible research towards a particular target, you said about the medical diagnostics. Here, we have a multidisciplinary environment. That happens to be a very important advantage for us. And right from the computer science people and IT, they go for working with the different other disciplines also, where in what application the AI would be helpful for them, and that the productivity, and they are all alert now. So that, as you said, the biasing would not happen, wrong results would not come out, because they are expecting a product, and you have different viewpoints who are all concentrating on the particular work. And that sort of a multidisciplinary environment directs them towards using the AI responsibly towards a particular thing. And whatever be the research data they produce, they are all archived and they are all ready for documentation and all. We very well follow. And the repeatability or reproducibility, that also is the matter what we need to look at. And all these things are monitored, and all these things are happening across the schools, across the researchers towards a particular target. That takes care of this responsible AI. But if we miss that, we are not going to be going forward at all. Therefore, it is very sort of quintessential.
Sure. Okay. Thank you, ma'am. So, Vijay, I just wanted to forgot to ask one more thing. This is important because we were talking about the data collection set. Like, how do you embed, data privacy principle as part of the data collection set? Yeah.
That's a great question, right? So data collection is one of the very important for any model building, right? So how do you prevent PI data, right? personal identified data to go out of system, right? So you should have a data lake where you're going to have the row level security, and then you should have cell level security, and then schema level security, and then access controls with IAM roles, like everything has to be least privileged policies has to be given, right? So, and these are like very important for an enterprises which is like handling the customer data. So these guardrails have to be implemented first of all. And then after that, you'll have to have data classification being done. So is it going to be a red data? Who is authorized to get the red data? What all the, so we have to enforce multiple layer of authentication, right? Now authorization, right? So if I need a data of red, I need an approval from my organization, right? It has to be a human in loop. These kind of things, you cannot rely on AI. You have to bring in human in loop to make sure identifying the right data classification is very important in this AI age. So you can have like thousands of tables, thousands of data sets. We don't know which particular table has which amount of data, right? So there should be an effort within the organization to first classify the data and then identify it as going to be green, orange or red. So based on that, you'll have to provide access to those models only for, if you want to train a model to get on a healthcare, you're going to, you should not give the patient ID or address or like you can have an age, but these has to be taken out of your system, or I should not be able to get the data for my training, right? So the protection has to be embedded in the data sets or a database layer itself, rather than human doing it. So you'll have to have that policy enforced at data lake level or database level, and then the models only see what is required to be trained. It should not be trained. So that is where like data protection comes into play, and you need to have definitely a human loop, and also there should be an audit happening, right? So today I'm going to tell like this particular column. It can be possible that I rename a column saying there is a PAN card or Aadhaar card. I can just put XYZ, and then it doesn't know that is an Aadhaar card, right? You also need to have a system which can monitor all the data. Is it going to be a Aadhaar? Is it going to be address? And then how are you going to encrypt those things at storage, right? So you'll have to have these red data to be stored at encrypted level rather than storing it as a plain text. So these are like basic things that are necessary for the AI to be trained or like make the integrity of the data as well as the privacy of the data.
Thank you. That's a wonderful insight, sir. Thank you. Coming back to Dheeraj, like, banking is more, regulations, complaints perspective, like, you deal with day in, day out. So how do you prevent complaints from becoming innovation bottleneck? So it is, yeah.
Yes, as you are aware, banking is a daily happening space. Every incident happening in financials or anything is really pinching us. You have seen in recent one, cyber frauds are happening, cyber crimes are happening. Along with that, mule accounts now have come. It's a very big case study. Means you cannot imagine where it is coming from, where it is going. And I'll tell you, these gangs have more technology than the financial sectors. Amazingly, the people are so sophisticated. They have the tools to contact the people, to send the transaction, to receive the money. So that is separate I will talk about. But this teaches us how to deal with the situation. So what we will do, in out of the AI development projects and other thing, of course we have two teams. One is in-house team and other is a vendor partners team, what we are having projects with them. We ensure that the design should be perfect. At least you first work on the design. What we do normally, we work on the checkbox type model, we'll make a model, and then we'll go for a compliance after making that model. But simultaneously, you can put the compliance checks while doing all the processing, while doing all the developments and other thing. This will make your model at least compliant ready. So compliance by design is the first principle that I will go for it. Second one will be your workflows. Your workflows will be such that it should take care of your models, it should take care of your design, it will take care of your process. So once you take these two things, I don't think there will be any compliance issues. There will not be any trust issues. There will not be any security issues. There will not be any breach issues. Second thing, the silent killer for AI models, my takeaway will be the weak data foundations. Those organizations are having weak data foundations, no data frameworks. They will be suffering in lot. And they cannot put the journeys, they cannot put the AI-enabled solution which is scalable and robust and long-lasting. So that is the primary framework where you have to work. Every organization has to work. Like Srini said, training the data sets, I'll come to that. Training data set is very, very important. The training data set, you should give your real-time scenario to that, feed to the engine, but simulated one, synthetic one, not the real data. Because whatever happens, it will happen to that synthetic data. Because AI engines are such that it will take your PI data also. It has a reference to that data. It will pose a security to customer data. So that things organization has to keep in mind. We have to work on that one. We have to ensure the security in financial transactions. We have to ensure the security of the customer data. That is basic need for a data security and data integrity and accountability, what you said. Sure. That is my takeaway.
Thank you, Dheeraj. So the last session, I think we need to shift the gears, quick, we have a lot of CXOs here. So one quick advice from you, what should leaders do? In fact, I mentioned next 6 to 12 months. It's not next to 6 to 12 months, next 3 to 6 months. What they need to do is stay compliant without killing innovation. Let's have a, ma'am, you can start.
Can you repeat the question?
So basically, for the CXOs, in the next 3 to 6 months, if you can give an advice, suggestion, what they should do, in the innovation without killing innovation to be compliant.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, as an institution, for our students, we actually have in the curriculum the subjects related to AI. Wherever AI can be used, we include that in the syllabus. And whatever be the subjects, knowledge about LLMs and all, and about the privacy and about the responsible AI, all these are given as subjects. And these students who come out to the industry, they are going to be working, like he said, we have those students coming out who would go for taking that forward, because they are now aware of what responsible AI is, how privacy should not affect the model, and how they should be efficiently working for the society at large. With that knowledge, we are sure that our students would be able to cater to the requirements of the industry without killing, as you said.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Wonderful. So, Vijay, I think you are the right person to say, from coming from the kind of a leader of the cloud. So how the innovation can stay without compromising the compliance?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think as an enterprise, we need to provide a safe playground for employees to work on AI, right? So that is very important. How do you empower your employees to adopt AI in a more secured way, right? So you have enterprise softwares for that, right? So now you have got Kairos from AWS, right? So that is going to be a service that's going to be an assistant for programming. So that is predominantly everyone within my organization are using it, but it is pretty safe. It's not going to go out of your system. So you will have to, the organization has to adopt AI, but also provide or empower your employees that safe playground to innovate, right? So you'll have to do that kind of investments in into getting into cloud providers which are like going to improve the productivity. Like there are like QuickSuite is one of an example in AWS service that is predominantly used for data analytics, and then you have Kiro as for the software development, and then there'll be multiple of tools that is available as a service like a Bedrock. So these are all like safe playground for an enterprise for the employees to work around to adopt AI and also comply with regulations.
Thank you, Dheeraj, for the more regulated vertical what you have.
Okay, so in my view, the organization which will keep the workflows and design consent as a priority, they will work more on how it should be your design and workflows. They will definitely have an advantage over others in innovation. And the compliance or regulations cannot be a constraint for such organization who wants to develop these models in that way. So you should be very pakka on your designs and workflows. That is one part. Second part, I will tell, compliance and regulators are not there for you breaking your journey. They are there for enabling your journey. I will cite one of the example. In 2008, when there was subprime crisis, all Indian financial market and Indian banks were protected because we have very less exposure to security-led market or mortgage-led market, and RBI regulations was very strict. Here we are very, very conservative in lending, and we only have a good capital adequacy ratios. And regulator is so smart that he does not allow us to deviate from this one. So I don't think compliance is a bottleneck for us, bottleneck for innovation. It will keep us in innovation. That is what my takeaway.
Thank you. I think we are in a, end of the session. So what I wanted to conclude, the history will not remember which company adopted AI first, but it will remember which company did responsibly. Okay, that's most important thing. And as I mentioned in the beginning, in the era of algorithms make decision, but leaders sets the boundaries. As Madam mentioned, leaders sets the boundary. Okay, so ultimately, AI can scale only if you have a trust with the data. Okay, so to end this, what I wanted to say, so the mandate for the leadership is very simple, but urgent, move fast, but govern fast. You need to govern fast. That's important. Amazing panel members. So we have, few minutes. It's open for question and answers.
So I'm Jairaj. I retired from a PSU. So I have a question for Mr. Dinabandhu. Dinra. So this compliance, data security and privacy starts with compliance. You also said there should be a checks and balances should be there and constant monitoring. How constant the monitoring should be there so that compliance is ensured? Could there be, a pop-up screen, which advises the data operator, rather the engineer who does that, saying that the compliance has not been done or something of that kind? Yeah. Yes, the second question about the privacy. The Digital Personal Data Protection Act, of course, is a step forward in ensuring privacy. But is it robust enough to ensure privacy? I'm told Europe has come up with better privacy statutory rules. Can we go for that, or your comments on that also?
Thank you, sir. For your first questions, how is we can take away the transaction? It is the compliance by nature. There are various thresholds for various things. So it is the transaction by transaction we have to monitor. It is not a monitoring at intervals. It is as and when happens, the incident as and when happens. The modules, the application, the engine should be such that as and when the threshold happens for that one, it will give you alerts, it will give you alarm, it will give you signal to take care of the situation. Second one, regarding what you told, EU Act AI Regulation Act 2026. Yes, there are very strict norms for what EU has put up for AI-related applications, AI-related entities and other things, and that is a really challenge when we are developing these modules according to that one. So these challenges are very much, and we have to build our system keeping in view the GDPR, CCPA, or AI Act. I think AI is one of EU. EU is one of the first organizations who has come with AI Act and AI Enforcement Act. Our government is still yet to come, but we have to work hard on that one to be competitive in AI models. That is what my takeaway, sir.
Writing, rather, based on government rule, that will help in regulating things further and also ensuring privacy, data
yes,
privacy.
Yes, sir. That's what I said. Your design should be privacy, to keep in mind privacy. Privacy by design. If your solutions are there, privacy by design, I think most of the compliance you will be completing, and you will be compliant with the regulators. That is one thing. Nowadays, consent management, everything is consent-based. So that privacy plays a very important role in this one. So your model should be privacy compliant.
Can I start? Yeah. So I don't want to mention any companies, but I want to mention the case studies. So similarly, past year, there was a breach attack in Microsoft softwares, like in operating systems. So from NASA till every cloud industries and our stock exchange has been affected. So how AI is going to helpful in data privacy?
Yeah, I can take it. So, attacks, the main problem with attacks is, right, the malicious, the code that's getting written, right? So it starts with like how are these code reviews are happening, right? So currently, like people are right now using a lot of AI for even coding, right? So that's happening in that started happening everywhere, right? So there should be a strong review process on whatever the code that has been written by every developer to be reviewed. There can also be an code review agent, so that's the trend happening. But you will definitely need to have a human in loop before even making the code to prod, right? So that definitely have to be. We are not matured that like every code that is being developed can go to prod without a human review, right? That you can still have an agent, but end of the day, right now you'll have to have a human in loop to make the CI/CD. So that is where I would say, like you can also have an AI agent that's going to review your code, as well as like if there is a high severe. So it's like more of AI versus AI. How AI can develop software, AI can also predict that that's going to be a malicious like attacks going to happen, and also you have a human in loop who is going to really just do a check on before going into prod. So this has to be part of your software development life cycle right now. That's what I would say.
So I'm talking to you from a consumer point. The consumer who is using the search engine, using the AI and getting an information about a place, probably about Delhi. And the moment he lands in Delhi, that information he gets in a lot of information is the mobile. I'm telling you, this information, what I'm seeking for, I'm willing to pay. But my privacy and secrecy has to be maintained. The purpose of my visit to Delhi or whatever it is, or to London. In this case, the AI can collect some money. The person who is giving me this information can collect a fee from me instead of collecting me the data. Is there any future chances looking at that way so that my secrecy and my information is protected? You can always charge me a fee and answer the questions what I'm asking you for, instead of pushing me the advertisements the moment I land in a particular city. Thank you.
I think we are in a what we call it as a golden age of digital. Okay, so in fact, in our hospital, when we had no internet, no EMR, so we didn't have any issues. After started using EMRs, it's all in the cloud. If some problem with the cloud, hospital cannot run. So, I mean, once you are on the internet, once you started using social media or anything, I think your information is already there actually. So it is like how you prevent, updating your personal information. It's all based on your own, how you handle your personal information. So that's something, it's completely controlled by you actually, today's world. Okay, so I mean, systems are smarter. I mean, the vendors are smarter. So, but we need to be much smarter than them. Otherwise, we will have to face this actually. So, any technology revolution, for that matter, any technology. Like at 2000, when we had an internet, we were talking about so much of internet issues and all those things. Now we are kind of continuing with that. So, I mean, these are all something how you can kind of control with your personal information. That's what I can tell you. So, this is something. That's what we call it as a golden digital age. So we can't escape from it actually.
In addition to that, Srini, every application provides you the access to block your things. It is all there. Facebook, you can block your things which can be shared, which cannot be shared. So it is mandatory for the application that consents of the person which data to share and which not lies with you. In regard to what you said, you landed in Delhi. Already you have enabled yourself with GPS. For your enablement, that data is taken for movements and other things because you want some application to run over GPS and it will sense your location and other thing. Accordingly, it will throw you the data what is useful to you. So it is both way takeaway.
Sir, plastic was hailed as a great revolution once upon a time, but now it is posing a great threat to humanity. Likewise, do you see AI is a great innovation, but do you see any potential risks to humanity? Though it looks very good, younger generation.
I think you have an answer.
If you kindly elaborate.
I mean, see, there is something called, I mean, I don't know how many of you know, like there is a port in China, it's completely operated unmanned. Okay, there's no person involved in that actually. Okay, so it's completely operated by the AI, and there is a hospital in China, no doctor, no clinical team. Okay, so how we are going to use the AI? It is again controlled by human. Just as someone mentioned, the human link is in between actually. It's all, how you control. So the boundaries are set by human. So that's where we need to be much smarter than them actually. So, I mean, still the human intelligence is much, much needed there actually. Yes, that's what I can probably, if you want.
Actually, that is the, the technology, what it brings us. Human, we are greedy. And we want to develop and we want to find new things and we want to be better than what we were yesterday. And we end up finding out newer things. And the newer things gives us some advantages and they give us several other disadvantages also. And this is the way everything works. In electronics, we used to be having this big computer. Now we are having even within our watch itself a computer of the same capacity. But because of this, we are now bothered about how much of power it's going to be consuming, what battery technology I need to have, and how much of power I should go for saving, what are the battery technologies which are there, fuel cell or any other technology which are going to be even smaller than lithium ion and all. We all go for it. And we go for having the similar way. The research problems we are actually expanding. As we go for advancing by one step, we have 10 other research problems coming up. And the man has to have a problem to solve. And these are the research problems which are adding up to our students, to our research scholars, and they actually do the research and find out newer things. And India ends up with something else. So this is bound to happen. This is philosophically speaking, this is how the life, the earth has evolved. And the growth of a person has evolved. Everything cannot be ideal because we are not, we are not human beings who are just very satisfied with what we have today. And we want to develop, we want to create new things. and while creating new things, all come with as a package. And we will have to move. And that is why, as a university leader, I would say that the students who are actually studying here, and those students ought to be made aware of what is good, what is bad, even at the time of studying itself, so that they become valuable, good citizens who have good values and good directions, which they themselves set for themselves.
Thank you. I think we are done, I believe. Yeah? Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
A big thank you to all of our distinguished speakers on stage for closing this summit on such a high note. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all of you taking the time to share your expertise with us today. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being such a wonderful audience. I think it's safe to say that the future of tech is bright, and it's wonderful to have been able to share all of these thoughts, insights, and have these discussions both with members of the industry, our audience, and experts as well. With that, we come to the end of the Hindu Tech Summit 2026. Thank you all so much for being with us today and yesterday. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.